Chapter 580. Tian Tian, Lon Lon, $10. Yi Zichen was able to clearly see the situation within the cave with the help of the fiery eyes of truth. But when he walked to the right, the cold air suddenly became more intense. There was even a faint fog that blocked the vision of the eyes of fire and gold. I feel like you've made an unwise choice. Xin Yuan Xiang floated in the air. Even though she was in her spiritual body state, she was still shivering from the cold. However, Yi Zichen was in a slightly better state. The swirling flash armor continuously circulated spiritual energy to help him resist the cold. If you feel too cold, come back. Xin Yuan Xiang nodded and disappeared. Before long, her voice rang out in Yi Zichen's consciousness. You're quite warm here, but if you really want to continue forward, I feel that the source of the cold air is here. The quest is to fight the boss. My instincts tell me that this is the right choice. Yi Zichen replied indifferently, then tightened his grip on Xin Yuan's sword and walked even more cautiously. Thump, thump, thump. The sounds that had drawn Yi Zichen's attention grew clearer and clearer. He walked to the end of the cave, but the faint glow of a fire in his left hand drew his attention. Someone's here. There seemed to be two shadows moving near the bonfire. Asterisk roar. Asterisk at this moment, a dragon's roar suddenly rang out from within the cave. The water droplets on the surrounding walls kept falling down, mixed with some gravel. Yi Zichen raised Xin Yuan's sword and continuously blocked the rocks to the side. When he finally came back to his senses, a huge black shadow had already appeared in front of him. It had a pair of feet and a pair of wings. Its entire body was black, and there were balls of blue flames on its wings. Winged dragon. Asterisk roar. Asterisk the winged dragon roared once again, causing the howling wind to blow Yi Zichen away, causing him to smash against the wall. Netherfrost dragon, Xin Yuan Xiang said with a frown. Are you sure? Why is there a Nibelheim dragon here? Could it be Duangu's son? Yi Zichen was shocked. Kid, hurry up and run. The two of us are definitely not his match. Xin Yuan Xiang shouted anxiously in his sea of consciousness. Yi Zichen naturally wanted to run, but the winged dragon had already flapped its wings and walked in front of him, then pinned him to the ground with one of its claws. Asterisk, roar. Asterisk the dragon's roar was deafening. Yi Zichen looked up and met the ice dragon's gaze. When he saw its cold eyes, his entire body gradually stiffened. At this time, there were already people gradually walking out of the hell trials. Some of them had even obtained some benefits from the hell trial. When they came out, they had faint looks of joy on their faces. They were ready to meet up with their teammates and leave together. At this moment, the plains suddenly shook violently, as if there was an earthquake. What's the situation? Quite a few people frowned in confusion. At this moment, Duan Hai said, It has nothing to do with you. This was caused by someone's hell trials. Hurry up and go to the third stage. There's not much time left. Everyone left one after another. Go Yuzhan clenched his fists tightly and looked at the door in front of him. Boss Yi, why is my luck so bad? Yi Zichen couldn't help but retort in his heart as he looked at the winged dragon, who was holding onto him tightly. Ding! The Xin Yuan sword flew out of his hand and slashed at the pterosaur, but when the blade hit it, there was only a crisp sound. It did not cause any damage at all. Asterisk roar. Asterisk the pterosaur roared once again, then raised its wings and smacked Xin Yuan sword into a corner. Xin Yuan Xiang, who was in his sea of consciousness, groaned. Yi Zichen quickly comforted her. Are you all right? Just what kind of luck do you have? Xin Yuan Xiang asked weakly. This guy is truly ridiculously strong. It seemed like a casual attack just now, but it actually harmed my origin. F*CK. I'm really going to make a mistake? Yi Zichen's eyes twitched. However, what was strange was that the pterosaur only roared continuously and did not launch any actual attacks towards him. Bro, Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows towards the pterosaur and coughed. It seems like you don't want to eat me either. Indeed, I'm old, and my flesh is rough, so I don't taste good. If you want to eat me, then go eat Xuanzang. His flesh can give you immortality. I didn't mean to offend you. How about you let me go? Roar. This bro doesn't understand human language? Yi Zichen rolled his eyes, then directly, roar, roar, roar. What are you doing? Xin Yuanxiang asked in his sea of consciousness. Yi Zichen replied, I'm communicating with it. What else could I be doing? Idiot. Xin Yuanxiang was speechless. Then you're not an idiot. Communicate with it. I'm at my wit's end, said Yi Zichen. Lon Lon, don't mess around. At that moment, a young voice sounded out beside Yi Zichen's ear. Someone's here. I say, you should be able to understand me, right? Make this guy on me leave. Yi Zichen continuously shouted. Not long later, he saw a pretty little girl fly over on a ball of blue fire. Daddy! The little girl suddenly revealed a joyful smile, then jumped down from the fire. Yi Zichen also looked at the girl in shock. Tian Tian, Lon Lon, hurry up and move aside. This is my daddy. Tian Tian put her hands on her waist angrily. Tian Tian angrily put her hands on her waist, but the pterosaur shrunk its neck and silently moved its claws to the side. Yi Zichen pushed himself up with his hands, while Tian Tian leaped into his arms. Daddy! Not long later, Tian Tian laid in his arms and started to cry. Yi Zichen reached out to caress her hair, then patted her back with a smile. Daddy's here. Daddy is here. As for the pterosaur that attacked Tian Tian at the beginning, it kept blinking its eyes, especially when it saw Tian Tian crying. It raised its wings and gently patted her as if it was comforting her. After a long while, Tian Tian finally stopped crying. She continuously wiped her dirty face with her fingers. Daddy and Mommy are gone. I thought you guys didn't want Tian Tian anymore. How could that be? Tian Tian is Daddy and Mommy's favorite. How could they not want Tian Tian? Yi Zichen continuously comforted Tian Tian, then stood up from the ground. The pterosaur's gaze remained on Tian Tian, as if it was very concerned. Yi Zichen carried her over to the campfire, then saw 10 bucks playing with building blocks beside the fire. The building blocks would occasionally fall down, which was where the clattering sound came from. Oh, big brother Yi. 10 bucks looked up and saw Yi Zichen throw the building blocks to the side, then ran over. Yi Zichen couldn't help but shake his head when he saw 10 bucks. He didn't expect Tian Tian to be with Soul Pearly Yuan. Chapter 581. Contract. The artifact spirit of Soul Pearly Yuan was definitely a spiritual body. The only reason Yi Zichen could see it was because it recognized him as its master. It was strange that Tian Tian could see it. Of course, Tian Tian giggled as she pointed at Tenor and said, when I was at the villa, I saw him putting together building blocks, so I went to play with him. At that time, I also knew that there was a big sister, and she was in my father's room. Hearing Tian Tian's words, Xin Yuanxiang couldn't help but come out. Look, big sister is here too. How strange. Yi Zichen and Xin Yuanxiang looked at each other. It was clear that neither of them understood why Tian Tian was able to see the spiritual form of the artifact spirit. Yi Zichen couldn't help but raise his eyebrows when he put Tian Tian near the bonfire. Why are you here? Lanlan's fire came for me. Tian Tian pointed at the winged dragon beside her. To be honest, Yi Zichen's heart raced when he saw it. That guy was truly huge. At the same time, the fireball flew to Tian Tian's side. The flames radiated a bone-chilling cold. Yi Zichen instinctively took a step back, but before long, his eyes flashed with a fiery light. This is the beast fire shed by the Netherfrost dragon? Yes, it's on Lanlan's body. Tian Tian nodded heavily, then pouted at the pterosaur. Lon Lon becomes smaller. Don't be so big. Not long later, the winged dragon that was 3 times as tall as Yi Zichen turned into a small winged dragon that was not even a meter tall. Lon Lon is great. He's been taking care of me for so long. Yi Zichen rubbed his head intimately, then looked at Tian Tian and the winged dragon in shock. Your daughter is really extraordinary. Xin Yuanxiang exclaimed in his sea of consciousness. Yi Zichen didn't respond to her exclamation. It was indeed a little surprising that Tian Tian could get along so well with the pterosaur. The flames didn't seem to harm her at all. Daddy, did you come here to pick up Tian Tian? Tian Tian tilted her head and asked. Yi Zichen nodded slightly. Yes, but I came here for other things. What? Tian Tian blinked. then glanced towards the winged dragon. I came here to get some beast fire. Ow, Lon Lon. Tian Tian shouted at Lon Lon without hesitation. Didn't you drop another ball of fire a few days ago? Can you give it to Daddy? The winged dragon nodded like a human and ran to the side. Not long later, it held a ball of fire in its mouth and placed it beneath Yi Zichen's feet. At the same time, it kept patting his shoulder with its wings, asking him to pick up the flame. You gave it to him so easily. Yi Zichen scratched his head, then tried to touch the flames on the ground. There was no cold at all. Yi Zichen grabbed the flame, then the winged dragon roared a few times, causing the flame to enter Yi Zichen's palm. If you want the beast fire, you must be an alchemist, right? I heard about it from my father. Just now, I'll let the beast fire enter your body. When you want to use it, just summon it out. At that moment, the winged dragon suddenly spoke. Yi Zichen blinked and looked towards it, then heard it speak again. I'm a divine beast. What's so strange about being able to speak? Yi Zichen nodded blankly, then muttered silently in his heart, causing the ball of fire to appear in his palm. Is it really that easy? I thought that I would have to go through a lot of trouble to get the beast fire. I didn't think that I would get the beast fire with just a single sentence from Tian Tian. Lon, just call me Lil Lon. Lil Lon, do you know how to get out of here? Are you guys going out? Lil Lan's tone suddenly turned sullen. He looked towards Tian Tian with a hint of reluctance. Lon Lon, just come out with us. It's so boring staying here all the time. Tian Tian giggled. Our house is really big. I'll get Mommy to give you a room, then you can just stay there. Oh yeah, Daddy, why didn't Mommy come with you? Yi Zichen's expression suddenly darkened. Then he patted Tian Tian's head. She went on a business trip, so she'll be back for a long time. Oh, Mommy always went on business trips before, Tian Tian muttered. Tian Tian muttered. She then smiled at Pterosaur and said, It's okay if Mommy isn't here. You can also stay in my room. My room is quite big. But my dad told me to wait here for Mount Supreme to open, then leave with the Chosen One. Lon Lon shook his head. Not long later, he suddenly looked up at Yi Zichen. You can't be the Chosen One, right? You can't be the Chosen One, right? Otherwise, why would you appear here? Yes, you are definitely the Chosen One. That's good. Wait a moment. Then, the winged dragon ran back. Not long later, he held a few more pieces of spiritual knowledge in his mouth and chucked them onto the ground. As per the will of the gods, I, Duan Lon, and the one in front of me. What's your name? Yi Zichen. Yi Zichen answered subconsciously. However, just as he was about to say that he wasn't the Chosen One, Lil Lon beat him to it. I, Duan Lon, will form an equal contract with the Chosen One, Yi Zichen. Whoosh. The stones on the ground suddenly shone with a blinding light. When the light faded, Yi Zichen felt like he had some sort of connection with the winged dragon in front of him. Hurry up, let's go. I'm sick of staying here. Actually, before we leave, I have something to clarify with you. Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. I'm not the Chosen One. Dumbfounded. Lil Lon was definitely dumbfounded. You aren't the successor that my dad chose? Then why did you come here? My dad said that only the Chosen One can enter this place. Yi Zichen smiled wryly. I don't know how to explain it. I didn't follow Dad's final wishes. But since we already signed the contract, there's no point in saying so much. Let's go. Let's hurry up and leave. Lil Lan's sad expression immediately turned into one of excitement. Yi Zichen looked at him. I wonder if Duan Gu would laugh in the underworld. If he knew. Do you kids have to wait for him here? All the participants of the Hell trial came out, and all of them hurried off to find the Nether Hall. Only Xia, Kiki, and company sat in front of the door and waited for Yi Zichen. His trial isn't simple. He might even die. You're not allowed to curse him. Xia Kiki glared, while her eyes shone with a golden light. We'll have to wait. What does that have to do with you? The juniors nowadays are truly becoming more and more. Just as Duan Hai snickered, a light suddenly shone in front of the door. Chapter 582. To have one's identity revealed, Duan Hai couldn't help but exclaim when Lil Blue carried Yi Zichen and company out. Broken mana! Uncle Hai. Xiaolon looked around and said, Uncle Hai, how come I don't see you? Where are you? Why did you come out? Duan Hai was still unable to hide the shock in his heart, especially when he saw that it was carrying Yi Zichen and company on its back. Why are you with this kid? And who is this little girl? Uncle Hai, you have a lot of questions. Xiao Lan curled his lips and said, Of course they are my friends. Otherwise, why would I let them sit on my back? At that moment, Yi Zichen jumped down from Lil Blue's back, then gestured towards Xia Kiki and company. Duan Hai, are you happy pretending to be the master? You know everything? Duan Hai's tone was a little gloomy. Suddenly, the sky turned incomparably dark. You're really lucky. There are a total of 4 paths, and 3 of them are evil beasts. You actually chose the path where Xiaolan is. Uncle Hai, what are you doing? Xiaolan scolded angrily. Duan Lan, when your father was alive, he told you to wait for the Chosen One. But who did you wait for? He's not the Chosen One at all. Have you forgotten what your father entrusted to you? But my father also said that everything depends on fate. Xiaolan snorted. He and I are fated. So what if I come out with him? But what do you want? Could it be that you want to kill the people who came here? My father never told you to kill anyone. Duan Hai suddenly fell silent. After a long time, the dark clouds in the sky scattered. Xiaolan is right. I was too impulsive. The 3rd stage of the game has already begun. There are still 36 hours left. Hurry up. After leaving behind a cold snort, Duan Hai's voice vanished. Only then did Xia Kiki and the others walk over and raise their eyebrows. What did you just say? The one hosting this game isn't the deity who left Mount Supreme behind. The one hosting this game is the artifact spirit of the deity's protective artifact. Yi Zichen said calmly. I was fortunate enough to obtain the armor the great divinity left behind and communicated with his remnant consciousness. The original purpose of this game was to cultivate the younger generation, but in the hands of the artifact spirit, it became a tool for him to enjoy himself. Was he the one who decided on the game's failure? Bai Hai couldn't help but frown. Just now, 2 people died because they didn't pass the trial. However, what's surprising is that there's a brat with no spiritual energy who actually came out alive. There's also a sickly invalid who seems to be on bad terms with you guys. He also came out, and it seems like he's in the 2nd most difficult difficulty. Yes, we feel that one of them should be the Chosen One, Ruan Qingtian added. The person without spiritual power should be Qiu Yuan, and the sickly person should be Mu Qingtian. It was indeed shocking that the 2 of them were able to walk out of the trial. However, Yi Zichen knew a bit about Mu Qingtian. He was actually very powerful. But Qiu Yuan really didn't have any spiritual power, and he didn't like cultivating, but he was still able to come out. While Yi Zichen was pondering, Xia Kiki and Zhuo Mo had already walked in front of Tiantian. Little girl, what's your name? I'm Tiantian. Tiantian giggled. Although her face was dirty, it was unable to hide her cuteness. Xia Kiki picked up a handkerchief and wiped Tiantian's face, then smiled. What a cute girl. Daddy, where are we going now? Tiantian ran over with a giggle and grabbed Yi Zichen's hand. The moment she asked, everyone froze. Everyone was petrified, especially Zhuo Mo and Xia Kiki. Zichen Ji, when did you have a child? Although Xia Kiki knew Yi Zichen in the modern realm, she didn't know anything about Tiantian. You actually have a child? Zhuo Mo exclaimed. Is that something I should be paying attention to? Yi Zichen frowned helplessly, then turned to Lil Lan. Lil Lan, Senior Duan Gu told me to wipe away this artifact's spirit's memories before I met you. Do you have any good suggestions? To be honest, I don't know. Lil Lan shook his head. Xiao Lan shook his head and said, Uncle Hai has always been with my father. When I was just born, my father died. He only left me this sentence. How troublesome. Yi Zichen couldn't help but frown. Since Duan Hai knew that his identity had been exposed, he would definitely use even more underhanded methods against him, and it might even affect the people around him. If they allowed him to continue like this, not to mention them, the Chosen One might even be toyed to death by him. Brother Yi, I think we should put aside what you just said. At the very least, we should complete the mission first. Bai Hai waved his fan as he spoke to the people around him. I don't know if any of you have noticed, but although the host of the game is killing the players, he's actually killing them. However, he had never killed them directly. He could only kill them in the game or by losing the game. I believe that with his strength, it would be too easy for him to kill us. If he doesn't take the initiative to attack, then there must be some rules restricting him. Agreed. Wan Qingtian nodded. Brother Bai is right. Although he's the host of the game, the master of Mount Supreme is still the Nether Frost Dragon. He might be able to change the rules slightly, but he can't change everything. But he is indeed the host, so let's continue the game. At the very least, we can't let him get hold of us. The surrounding people couldn't help but nod at Bai Hai's words. Most importantly, how are we going to find the Nether Hall? I have a map. With that, Yi Zichen took out the map and glanced at it briefly. Come with me. After everyone left, Li Jiai, who was sitting at the back, raised her eyebrows and followed behind them unhurriedly. Brothers and sisters, I, Yuan Hong, have never begged you for anything. This time, I'm really counting on you. Yuan Hong cupped his fists. In front of him stood the great sage, the red-boned horse ape, and the six-eared macaque. Not far from them, Su Luer sat pale-faced on the ground. Su Zhu knitted her brows and sat at the back to treat her injuries. During this period of time, she had already damaged her spiritual energy by forcefully trying to break through Mount Supreme's restrictions. But it was worth mentioning that only the time for an incense stick to burn had passed in the outside world. Third brother, don't panic. I, old son, will knock this broken thing open for you. The great sage scratched his face with his Rui Jingu Bang, which gradually grew in size. Open. Bang. The golden cudgel slammed hard on the barrier. The great saint who was holding the golden cudgel trembled violently. The golden cudgel flew out of his hand and returned to its normal size. It fell to the ground, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. The other two spirit monkeys also used their natal treasures, but the outcome was the same as the great sages. Chapter 583. Chapter 583. That guy. I think I've seen you somewhere before. The great sage sat cross-legged on the ground and glanced at Fatty. Yang Jian glanced at him as well and couldn't help but raise his brows. Now that you mention it, why do I feel like I've seen you before, too? I'm your grandson. Of course you've seen everything I've seen. The great sage sat on the ground to heal, but even so, he couldn't help but attack Yang Jian. I can't be bothered with you since you're injured, you monkey. Yang Jian pursed his lips and squinted at Fatty. I think you were the one who led us to the modern realm last time, right? Since you know, get out of the way. Fatty raised his hand and gestured for everyone to move back. Everyone retreated about 10 meters. A chessboard suddenly appeared above the Fatty's head. The positions of the black and white pieces on the chessboard were also very special. 8 Formation Origin Chart. Wei Chun couldn't help but raise his brows. Everyone's eyes widened when they heard this. 8 Formation Origin Chart. An ancient divine artifact. During the Great War of the Gods and Demons, the shamans had sent the descendants of the 12 shamans to deliver the 8 Formation Origin Chart to the God Emperor. The God Emperor had used the 8 Formation Origin Chart's illusory formation to trap and kill millions of demon soldiers. That was how he had won the war. However, after that, the 8 Formation Origin Chart disappeared from the God realm. The God race had sent out many troops to search for it, but to no avail. After that, they never heard any news of the 8 Formation Origin Chart. Wei Chun could only say its name because of the inherited memories of the 4 sacred beasts. Is this really the 8 Formation Origin Chart? The dragon elder gulped. Zhuge Hong also raised her brows in shock. The divine artifact that had terrified the entire demon realm had actually appeared here. Quiet, Fatty chided. Fatty chided indifferently. Even though everyone present was a person of status, they did not show the slightest bit of impatience. They all stared silently at the formation above their heads, which was either glowing gold or blue bang. Fatty suddenly retreated after receiving an attack. He steadied himself, and the chart above his head gradually disappeared. Strange. Senior. As the clan leader of the Fox Yaos, Su Luer naturally knew what the 8 Formation Origin Chart of the universe represented. Ignoring her injuries, she struggled to her feet and knelt in front of the Fatty. Senior, I beg you to save my sister. Sparkling tears fell to the ground. Fatty glanced at her and suddenly recalled the picture that person had shown her. You are Su Lua? Yes. Su Lua raised her delicate face and nodded firmly. I know. Wasn't your sister captured by someone? Their request is for Yi Zichen to exchange for her? Asked the fatty. Yes. Su Lua nodded. Someone asked me to come here. My goal is to get Yi Zichen to come out and save someone called Su Yin? Io, this name, it seems to be her. Is she your sister? Fatty said. Understood. Su Lua nodded again. That's right. You don't have to kneel here. I can't accept it. I heard that person say that you're going to be my sister-in-law in the future. I seem to have married that girl called Su Zhu of yours. TSK. Su Zhu suddenly frowned. Who are you? I've never seen you before. Don't be so shameless and want to marry me. I hate fatties the most. You're Su Zhu. That guy really didn't lie to me. You really are pretty. Fatty couldn't help but nod. Fatty nodded involuntarily. He rubbed his chin with his right hand and said, This isn't my real body. I exchanged my points for this body. My original body is handsome and elegant. You won't lose out if you're with me. Go die. Su Zhu shouted angrily. Lil sis. Su Lua frowned angrily. After calling Su Zhu down, she spoke up once more. Senior, can we not talk about this? My lil sis. That guy said that Yi Zichen has to go himself if he wants to save your lil sis. That's something he has to go through. Fatty twisted his neck. But he gave me this 8-formation origin chart of the universe when I came and said that I can use it to open the seal. But when I tried it just now, I felt like something was missing. Fatty, there's no need for you. At that moment, a weathered man appeared in the sky. There was an image of a sword on his right arm. Didn't you say that it wasn't convenient for you to show your face? Asked the fatty. Things have progressed beyond my expectations. This is no longer the same as what I've experienced. The man in the sky sighed. The man in the air sighed lightly. Fatty hurriedly raised his eyebrows and said, Then is she still my wife? I saw that she was quite fond of her just now. You lil sis. Su Lua grabbed Su Zhu and looked up into the sky. However, no matter how she looked, it was as if there was a thin veil covering the man's face. Yes, you two loved each other so much back then, but never mind, let's not talk about it. He slowly descended from the sky and walked in front of the seal, then pointed his finger upwards, resist. A faint sneer sounded out from his mouth. A puny artifact spirit dares to act fierce in front of me? Break. The word break carried an unquestionable aura, as if the laws of heaven and earth were being activated. Crash. Like a mirror shattering, the restriction in front of him completely shattered. Next, he walked up to Su Lua, looked her in the eye, and smiled. Lu Urgia. I can't let Su Yin leave Yi Zichen again. Absolutely, absolutely not. He calmly turned around and walked into the shade. At the same time, he said, The seals outside Mount Supreme have indeed been broken, but the seals inside Mount Supreme are 100 times stronger. Six-eared macaque, I need your help. Inside the Netherworld Hall. Fortunately, everyone who survived the Hell trial managed to find the palace. Of course, they were only able to because Yi Zichen was kind enough to bring them along. Otherwise, it would be impossible for them to find it unless they were extremely lucky, given how huge Mount Supreme was. It was just as Yi Zichen had heard during the trial. There were indeed new players entering, and there were even more people in the palace than before. However, these people were all wearing black robes, so it was impossible to tell who they were. At this moment, a black-robed man suddenly appeared on the dragon throne in the palace. Let me introduce myself. I'm Duan Hai, the current master of Mount Supreme. Chapter 584. Wait there for me. Someone was destroying Mount Supreme's restrictions. This was like a heavy bomb to everyone present. But to be honest, many of them were secretly delighted. For example, Qiu Yuan. He was dragged here by Ma Tong. His original intention was to do so. Don't cultivate. Or rather, Mu Qingtian. He didn't even know how he got out of the Hell trials. He was fed up with the rules here. He didn't want to stay here any longer. He was the young patriarch of a peak family in the outer regions of the Immortal Region. It would be great if he went out and inherited the position of patriarch to pick up girls. The two of them were merely examples of those who wanted to leave. As for the others, some of Yizichin's people wanted to leave. Of course, there were also some who didn't want to go out. This group of people had come here to risk it all. Wealth comes from danger. If they could get their hands on a divine artifact, then they would truly rise up. I don't care what you're thinking right now. The game must continue. Duan Hai answered firmly, then glanced over at Yizichin. That's right, Duan Hai. Of course, if someone is unhappy with me, feel free to fight me here. Everyone looked towards Yizichin's group. They all knew that there was some conflict between them and Duan Hai. The black-robed men who had just joined also looked over. One of them even stared at Yizichin for a long time. We don't have any problems. Let's begin. Yizichin smiled. Ruan Qingtian and Bai Hai had already analyzed that Duan Hai might face the restrictions of the laws. In that case, there was no need for him to touch him. He had to wait for the right opportunity. In that case, let's form a new party before the game starts. As soon as he finished speaking, a table with a box on it appeared in front of everyone. There are a total of 26 balls here. The teams will be formed as follows: 1 to 3 teams, 4 to 6 teams, and so on. The last 25 and 26 teams, I'm sorry, but you're out of luck. Let's begin. Everyone went up one by one. When they got the ball, their attention was no longer on who they could team up with, but whether they could team up or not. 6. Yizichin raised his eyebrows when he touched the ball. He had thought that Duan Hai would put him at 25 or 26. Impossible. I can't be 25. Suddenly, someone yelled crazily. Behind him, there was another person with an ashen face. The number on a ball in his hand was 26. Well, I'm sorry, you guys have been eliminated. Duan Hai, who was sitting on the dragon throne, smiled faintly. The two men who had obtained the death balls ran out of the palace. Eliminated. Dong. Unsurprisingly, the two players fell to the ground. The surrounding players were shocked when they saw this scene. This was the first time they had seen someone get eliminated just like that. This game is very simple. Later, I will send you to an arcane realm. In that mystic realm, there were treasures and fortuitous encounters, but at the same time, danger lurked everywhere. If many of you want to snatch a treasure, it's very simple. Grab their jade pendant and crush it, and their game will be over. If you think that grabbing the jade pendant is too troublesome and want to kill someone, then I'm sorry, you will die if you kill the other party. All right, I'll give you guys half an hour to team up. Let's begin. After explaining the rules of the game, Duan Hai disappeared once again. At this moment, everyone started shouting. I'm number 17. I'm number 21. I'm number 14. Yizichin and company naturally gathered together and looked at each other's numbers. It seems like we need to go outside to team up. Yizichin scratched his head with a wry smile. None of the people on Yizichin's side had numbers that were in the single digits. Approximately a few minutes later, everyone else stood together in groups of 3. Only Yizichin and the 2 black-robed men stood by themselves. You're from 4 to 6, right? I'm 6. Yizichin walked in front of one of them. The other person nodded, then revealed the ball. Number 5. As for the remaining player, he also walked over. The ball in his hand was the number 4 ball. I'll have to rely on you two for the mission. Yizichin smiled. Yizichin smiled. The two of them nodded non-committally, but neither of them said anything. 2 strange people. What's more, the 2 black-robed people don't seem to know each other. Half an hour passed by quietly. The other teams chatted heatedly and got to know each other. Only Yizichin's side remained silent. Silence. Time's up. Mission activated. Duan Hai suddenly appeared in the room. He gently clapped his hands, and everyone in the room disappeared one after another. After everyone left, he squinted his eyes and snorted. You want to ruin my plans? Die. What should I call you two? Yizichin scratched his head after teleporting to the secret location, then looked at the 2 black-robed people beside him. 1. The slightly smaller black-robed person said. Then you can call me 2, the other black-robed person added. 2 strange people. Yizichin couldn't help but retort in his heart. However, who cares what their real names are? It's easier to converse with them as long as they have a title. 1, 2, where are we going? You decide. This time, the two of them actually spoke at the same time. Yi Zichen rubbed his forehead. Forming a team with people like this is really tiring. Since it was a secret location, there were no markings on the map. Yi Zichen sighed, then signaled them to wait a moment, then walked to the side and took out his phone to call the system. Hey, I'm at the third stage. How do I go? Outside Mount Supreme. The man who appeared to break the formation stood outside the mountain with a frown and a solemn expression, as expected of something left behind by a Sky Supreme. It's very hard to break the formation in the outside world. Ding dong. At that moment, his body paused for a moment. Yi Zichen shook his head and walked to the side, then took out a phone and replied. Wait where you are. System notification. Wait where you are? What is the system doing? It's telling me to give up on the treasure hunt. Yi Zichen didn't really mind. He already got enough benefits from coming here. He was just afraid that the two people who teamed up with him wouldn't agree. I'm teaming up. Yi Zichen frowned. Not long later, system notification. There are no treasures in your secret location, and the secret location is filled with traps. Your luck isn't very good. If you move around randomly, you will encounter a lot of traps. The location you were teleported to is a safe zone. Staying in that room and not going out is your best choice. System notification. As for the team members you mentioned, they will not reject your choice. What does that mean? Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. The system's tone is so certain. I don't even know them, so why are they listening to me? However, before he could retort, the system sent him another message. Chapter 585. Heavenly Supreme, Expert Gulp. Yi Zichen, who was holding his phone, remained silent for a long time. Is the system trying to tell me that I'm coming to see me later? You want to come? System notification. You can say that, but it's also possible that I won't see you. It depends on my mood. All right, be a good boy and wait there. Don't move. I'm breaking the formation. The system notifications gradually disappeared. It seemed that he was no longer interested in chatting with her. However, the news shocked Yi Zichen. The person breaking the formation outside was him. Yi Zichen rubbed his nose, then put his phone back into his pocket and walked beside the two black-robed men. The two black-robed men didn't have the slightest intention of rushing him. They just sat quietly in different positions without saying a word. What would you guys think if I said that we're not going out? All right. The two of them nodded at the same time. The system was right. The two of them would not reject him. Wait, didn't the two of you come here to look for treasures? Did you really agree when I said you wouldn't leave? Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. The two of them nodded indifferently, then spaced out and ignored him. This is really too strange. He kept scratching his head as he looked at the two black-robed men sitting with their backs facing each other. What was going on with them? Did he spend so much effort to come to Mount Supreme, not to search for treasures? Did he come here to have fun? But if they didn't want to move, then so be it, Senior. Su Luer saw that the person breaking the formation was actually playing with his phone. She didn't dare disobey him, but for the sake of her little sister, she couldn't help but ask, Are you going to break the formation? Big Sister Luer, it's hard to believe that you would speak to me like that. Back then, you were very fierce. The man smiled faintly, but there was a hint of bitterness in the corner of his mouth. I knelt in front of your Fox Yao clan's mountain gate for a month, but you never came out to see me. How could this be? Su Luer's eyes were filled with astonishment. Although she had a rather cold personality and didn't show much respect to anyone, she was different. But how could she let such an expert kneel for a month and ignore him? Besides, she had no recollection of such a thing happening. Senior, said Su Luer tentatively. I was just spouting nonsense. The man smiled faintly and said, I will definitely destroy Mount Supreme. Don't worry, Sister Luer. Just wait on the side for the results. With that, he walked back to the arched door of Mount Supreme. Senior Six-Ears Macaque. What should I do? The six-eared macaque was a female, spiritual monkey. She was very gentle when she spoke, good at listening, able to discern reason, able to know the front and back, able to understand everything. It could be said that her ability wasn't used in battle, but she was good at deduction and observation. Can you help me see which two positions of this arch are the same? The six-eared macaque raised its eyebrows and walked to the front of the arched door. Its pupils gradually turned light purple. If one were to look at it with the naked eye, the arched door would look almost the same. However, if one were to observe meticulously, it would be different. In the blink of an eye, an hour had passed. Six-eared macaque raised his hand and drew 2 circles on the door. At the same time, he said to the man, "These 2 positions." "Thank you." The man cupped his hands towards the six-eared macaque, then walked forward and placed his hands on the 2 circles. An ice-cold flame appeared in his palm. Gradually, the 2 circles were burnt black. Then, he put away the flame and clenched his right fist. "Open." His fist smashed onto the arched door. Suddenly, the entire Mount Supreme shook. Boom! The arched door shattered. Who dares to cause trouble at Mount Supreme? The moment the arched door was broken, a stern voice rang out from the door. Duan Hai frowned and snorted as he blocked the door. "Retreat, or die." "Duan Hai, it was truly my negligence that I didn't kill you back then." The man smiled and slowly walked over. The man's lips curled into a faint smile as he twisted his neck and slowly walked over. "Today, I'll make up for my mistake back then." Berserk spiritual energy was released from the man's body. The surrounding human immortal experts, including Su Lu and the 3 Yao emperors, when they felt the pressure of the spiritual energy, they couldn't help but kneel on the ground. Divine power. This was definitely divine power that surpassed immortal kings. Duan Hai's eyes twitched when he felt the pressure. How is this possible? How can a Sky Supreme expert appear here? Are you afraid? Back then, you were very arrogant. You devoured Qiu Yuan's soul, took over his spiritual body, and slaughtered all my friends. You never showed such an expression back then. The man smiled coldly. The corners of the man's mouth curled into a cold smile. Duan Hai turned around and was about to flee. "You want to leave?" The man grabbed at the air, and Duan Hai returned to his hand uncontrollably. "Let me repeat what you said back then. You're dreaming if you want to run in front of me." Bang! The man slapped the top of Duan Hai's head. Duan Hai struggled, but he couldn't break free at all. Gradually, his gaze became dull, and his body shrunk until he was the size of a 4 or 5-year-old child. Go back to being an artifact spirit. Boom! Duan Hai's body shattered, turned into specks of light, and disappeared from Mount Supreme. The man raised his eyebrows and turned to look at the fatty. "I'll leave the rest to you. You're not going in to see him?" The fatty raised his eyebrows. The man shook his head with a smile. "There's no need. We'll meet when it's time." "Oh yeah, give the inheritance to a child called Qiu Yuan. It should have belonged to him. Also this armor." The man took out a set of armor and placed it on the ground. It was obvious that it was not an ordinary item from the spiritual light that shone on its face. "Give it to him. Consider it compensation." "You really dared to give it to him." The fatty's expression changed, then picked up the armor and nodded. "I understand." As soon as he finished speaking, the man leaped up and vanished from this expanse of the world. The rules of Mount Supreme cannot be broken. "Wait here. I'll go and find Yi Zichen. Remember, no one is allowed to take a single step in here." The fatty glanced coldly at the surrounding heaven immortals, then put his hands behind his back and walked into the cave. Whoosh! Yi Zichen, who was drawing circles in the room, suddenly felt the space around him tremble. "Earthquake!" Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows, then noticed that his teammates had also stood up. "Are you going to run?" Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows at them. At that moment, 3 black-robed people appeared in front of their room. "Sun Yaij, when are you going to act if not now?" Chapter 586. Holy Maiden of the Jiuli, the sharp blade flashed with a cold silver light. Yi Zichen, who was standing in front, focused all of his attention on the 3 black-robed men, so he couldn't react to his teammate's attack at all. At that moment, his other teammate snorted coldly. He raised his hand and grabbed the man's wrist. The dagger slipped from his hand and fell to the ground. When a short black-robed person saw this scene, she quickly pushed away the person who was holding her, and with a leap, she landed next to the 3 black-robed people. But at the same time, the hat that covered her face also fell to her shoulders. Sun Yaij. Yi Zichen was stunned when he saw the familiar face. "Do it!" The black-robed man frowned. The black-robed man frowned. Sun Yij looked at Yi Zichen, then bit her lips and put the hood back on her head. At the same time, she took out a dagger and charged over with them. Why did Sun Yij appear here? Why is she pointing her weapon at me? Yi Zichen didn't even have time to think, as the opponent's attack had already arrived. He simply took a few steps back, but his gaze was fixed on Sun Yij the entire time. Yij! Yi Zichen continuously retreated and called out her name. The black-robed men around Sun Yij smiled sinisterly. I didn't expect you to actually know the Yellow Emperor. I didn't think you knew the Yellow Emperor. Little son, don't go easy on me. I know, Sun Yij nodded. I will never forget the revenge of my clan's extermination. With that, Sun Yij's attacks became even sharper. Yi Zichen grabbed her wrist with a frown. Yij, can you wake up? Yij, can you wake up? What do you mean by clan annihilation? Let go of me, Sun Yij frowned. Sun Yij frowned. Yi Zichen's heart softened, and he gave her hand over. Bang! Sun Yij kicked Yi Zichen, then directly pushed him into the corner with her dagger. Sun Yij, what are you doing? What exactly happened to you? Yi Zichen continuously shouted. His black-robed teammate wanted to come over and help him, but the other three surrounded him. Don't even think about going over. Then, they raised their eyebrows towards Sun Yij. What are you waiting for? Hurry up and kill him. I don't know what's wrong with Mount Supreme either. Let's quickly settle it, so we can report back. It's not your turn to lecture me. Sun Yij turned her head and scolded. Her cold eyes scared the three of them so much that they didn't dare to say another word. One song, Yi Zichen said. Enemy. Sun Yij bit her lips tightly. She lifted the dagger high up, but it didn't fall. Her arms were trembling, her lips were trembling, her shoulders were trembling. The person in front of her was the one she had a crush on in college. Kill him, she. Why do you have to be the Yellow Emperor? Sun Yij grabbed Yi Zichen's collar and shouted, while tears shimmered in her eyes. Why must I be the holy maiden of the Ninely clan? Tears slowly rolled down from her eyes and dripped onto the ground. When Yi Zichen heard her words, he was completely dumbfounded. Jili tribe? Doesn't that mean that she's one of the clans that the Yellow Emperor and Qiyu destroyed during their battle? Yi Zichen had seen that scene when he inherited Xin Yuan's sword, regardless of whether they surrendered or not. Kill. They were all slaughtered. Why are you Jili? Before Yi Zichen finished, he saw a strange mark between Sun Yij's eyebrows. It was the mark of those who were slaughtered when he inherited Xin Yuan's sword. I don't know either, Sun Yij started to sob. Sun Yij started sobbing inexplicably. When she was still in the modern realm, her father suddenly said that he wanted to take her to a place. Ever since then, she had been given the title of Holy Maiden. At the same time, she was also given a past. The enemy of the Ninely clan, Yellow Emperor Xin Yuan. Most importantly, Yellow Emperor Xin Yuan's reincarnation was actually Yi Zichen. Sun Yij's dagger was raised high up, but it didn't fall. Yi Zichen let out a long sigh. He slowly raised his hand, grabbed Sun Yij's wrist, and put her hand down. Sorry, I'm deeply sorry for what the Yellow Emperor did back then. I will go to the Ninely clan to ask for forgiveness in the future, but not now. Right now, I still have other missions that I haven't completed. Taking advantage of Sun Yij's struggle, Yi Zichen knocked her neck. Sorry. Yi Zichen carried her and slowly placed her in a corner of the room. A cold light surfaced in his eyes, while Xin Yuan's sword also appeared in his hand. Ninely clan, what do you want to do? The three black-robed men, who had been quite arrogant just a moment ago, suddenly retreated continuously. It wasn't that they were afraid of Yi Zichen. It was just that Xin Yuan's sword affected the Ninely clan far too deeply. One person, one sword. Annihilate the entire clan. What else can I do? Kill the Ninely clan without mercy. Buzz, Yi Zichen raised his hand and slashed horizontally. Sword energy shot out from Xin Yuan's sword, causing the three to quickly raise their weapons to block. Although they could feel that the person wielding the sword wasn't very strong, they just couldn't bring themselves to resist. Yi Zichen, is Yi Zichen here? Judging from the tone, the person seemed to have a grudge against Yi Zichen. Yes, Yi Zichen is here. The three Ninely clan members roared. Not long later, a fatty appeared in front of the room. Fatty Ian, your location is way too hidden. I looked for you for so long. Fatty Ian twitched his mouth and grabbed Yi Zichen's shoulder. Fatty Ian twitched his mouth and grabbed his shoulder. Your trip to Mount Supreme ends here. Come with me. You can't be the system, right? Yi Zichen was shocked. What the hell are you talking about? Someone really cares about you and told me to come and get you. Of course, before that, what are these three people doing? Fatty Ian raised his eyebrows at the three Ninely clan members. The Ninely clan members want to kill me, Yi Zichen replied plainly. I see, Fatty Ian nodded. Fatty Ian nodded. The three members of the Ninely clan were already in a complete panic. They had thought that the person wanted to deal with Yi Zichen like them, but they didn't expect it to be someone familiar. They immediately tried to run out, but before they could take a few steps, they smashed into an invisible wall, causing them to feel dizzy. Oh, a formation master. Fatty Ian raised his eyebrows at the black-robed man beside him, but didn't say anything. He merely pointed at the three Ninely clan members. Oh, scourges like the Ninely clan can't be left alive. The three people lost their lives before they even had the chance to scream. Immediately afterwards, Fatty Ian's gaze landed on Sun Yaich. She's the holy maiden of the Ninely. At that moment, the black-robed man who had been helping Yi Zichen spoke up hoarsely. When Fatty Ian heard this, his brows furrowed. Chapter 587. Qiu Yuan, the chosen 1-inch holy virgin of the Jiuli tribe. This is not him. Fatty Ian couldn't help but mutter as he slowly walked toward Sun Yaich. It has nothing to do with her. Yi Zichen raised his hand to stop him and stood in front of Sun Yaich. She's not someone from the Jiuli. She said it herself just now. She is the holy virgin of the Jiuli tribe. The black-robed man continued to speak with a hoarse voice. Yi Zichen frowned and looked at him. If I say she's not, then she's not. We don't know each other, so don't worry too much. The black-robed man was inexplicably startled. He nodded his head lightly and slowly walked to the side of the room. Fatty Yin's gaze remained on Sun Yaich, and he couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. Yi Zichen, is she the holy maiden of the Jiuli or not? If she really is, she'll be in big trouble in the future. No, Yi Zichen shook his head. Fatty Yin and Yi Zichen stared at each other for 10-odd seconds, but Yi Zichen did not back down. Forget it. They are indeed the same person, and their choices are the same. I don't care. Since you said so, I'll pretend that she's not. Faintly shaking his head with a smile, Fatty's expression turned solemn. Why are you looking for me here? Yi Zichen dragged the Fatty away from Sun Yai's side. Fatty Yin raised his eyebrows with a smile. Didn't I say just now that I'll take you out? Mount Supreme no longer has anything to do with you, but before that, I still have something to take care of. The 8-formation origin chart appeared above their heads. Not long after, the scenery around them changed. Everyone who was searching for treasures had returned to the Netherworld Hall. What's the situation? Why did you all suddenly come back? Is it time already? But that senior didn't say that the time was up. As the surrounding people discussed amongst themselves, Fatty Yin coughed and slowly walked up to his throne. He narrowed his eyes as he looked down at the crowd. Be quiet, everyone. Who is this person? Isn't he the senior just now? I didn't see him when we teamed up just now. What's going on with Mount Supreme? Silence. Bang. Fatty Yin raised his hand and slapped it on the dragon throne. His intimidating pressure immediately silenced the surrounding people. Mount Supreme's game ends here. From now on, you can choose to search for treasures in Mount Supreme, or you can choose to leave. Whoosh! A gate appeared in front of the Nether Palace. This leads to the outside of Mount Supreme. If you want to leave, you can leave now. Of course, the original owner of Mount Supreme did not lie to you. There are indeed fortuitous encounters here, but there are also dangers everywhere. If you want to take a gamble, you can stay here. As soon as he finished speaking, Mu Chantian trembled as he walked out. Qiu Yuan also wanted to sneak out. Get back here. Ma Teng raised his hand and pulled Qiu Yuan back. At this moment, the Fatty spoke up. Who here is called Qiu Yuan? Me. Qiu Yuan, who was being carried by Ma Teng, quickly raised his hand. The Fatty nodded and glared at Ma Teng, causing Ma Teng to immediately spit out a mouthful of blood and crash into the wall behind him. "Come here." Qiu Yuan swallowed his saliva as he walked up. "Senior, this armor is for you," said Yi Zichen. The fatty took out a set of armor from his spatial artifact and placed it on the ground. "Drip your blood on it. Recognize its owner." The surrounding people couldn't help but feel envious when they saw it. This armor seemed to be even stronger than the golden bell that was given to Go Yuzhan. "Senior, I'm not interested in cultivation. I don't think I want this armor. There are plenty of people here who are stronger than me." I said it's for you. So it's for you." He raised his hand and grabbed Qiu Yuan's arm, stabbing it with his knife. "It hurts." Qiu Yuan stomped his feet in pain. Blood flowed down his arm and onto the armor. Splat. The moment the blood stained the armor, a fluorescent light emerged from the armor and disappeared into Qiu Yuan's body. Then, another teleportation gate appeared beside the fatty. "Walk through this gate, and you'll arrive at Mount Supreme's Duan Gu's inheritance. Go in." Everyone looked at the gate passionately. If one obtained the inheritance of Mount Supreme's master, they would definitely be the strongest person in the three realms. "Senior, I don't want to cultivate." Qiu Yuan replied miserably. "Go in. Do you want me to kick you in?" Fatty Yin frowned. "I understand," Qiu Yuan said with a bitter expression. Qiu Yuan had a bitter look on his face as he entered the portal unwillingly. At this moment, Fatty Yin closed the portal and snorted at the others. "I know some of you are unhappy, but I have to tell you that the brat just now is Mount Supreme's God's chosen one. It's only natural for him to get it." The people below did not dare to refute. The fatty's strength far surpassed theirs. Even if Qiu Yuan wasn't the chosen one, they wouldn't dare to refute what the fatty said. "All right, before Qiu Yuan receives the inheritance, Mount Supreme will be open to the public. I'll set up a restriction later. Sky Immortals and above are not allowed to enter. In other words, Sky Immortals can still enter. But don't worry, I'll activate the bewildering formation. Anyone who enters will get lost. Whether or not you can obtain treasures will depend on your luck. I'll say it again. If you want to leave, you'll be here. If you don't, good luck." With that, Fatty Yin walked in front of Yi Zichen and raised his eyebrows. "Come with me. This place has nothing to do with you anymore. Are you going to stay here or come with me?" Yi Zichen glanced at Zhua Mo and company. "I'll stay here. It wasn't easy to come down from above. If I don't bring a few divine artifacts back, the clan elders might cause trouble for me." Bai Hai smiled. "I'll stay here as well," said Ruan Qingtian. "Then are the rest of you going out?" Yi Zichen looked at the others. Everyone nodded. Yi Zichen smiled, then picked Tian up from the ground and raised his eyebrows towards Fatty Yin. "Let's go." Outside Mount Supreme, Su Lu rubbed her hands together as she paced around in front of Mount Supreme. Even though only a few minutes had passed in the outside world, she was still extremely anxious. Whoosh! The moment Yi Zichen and company appeared outside Mount Supreme, a lot of people surrounded them. "Little friend Yi, I wonder if our..." Three Yao Emperors walked up to ask. Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows, then thought about the three fellows who didn't walk with them. They should be searching for treasures inside. "I see." The female Yao Emperor nodded in relief. Only then did the female Demon Emperor feel relieved. She nodded and said, "Before you entered, we said that we would give you... Move aside." At that moment, Su Lu pushed everyone away and walked in front of Yi Zichen. She looked at him as if she wanted to eat him alive. "Lu Urjia, come with me." Chapter 588. The abducted Su Yin. What's wrong with big sister Lua? She's not in a good mood at all. Xia Kiki couldn't help but mutter as she watched Su Lu drag Yi Zichen away. "Miss, it's best if our dragon clan doesn't get involved in this. Hurry up and come back with me." The elder grabbed Xia Kiki's hand and left without saying anything else. Zhuge Hong and the Jail King also brought Little White and Zhuge Kongming away. "Miss Zhuo Mo, I'm Yi Zichen's #1 fighter, Wei Chun. A senior told me that you would be in danger on your way back to your clan, so he sent me to escort you back." Wei Chun walked over with a smile. Zhuo Mo subconsciously glanced at Yang Jian. "It's true. I'll be accompanying you on this trip as well. We won't leave until you return safely." Yang Jian nodded non-committally with a smile. Zhuo Mo nodded lightly and said, "That's right. Then I'll have to trouble the two seniors. What about us?" Third Fatty Jean put his arm around Go Yuzhan's shoulder and smiled bitterly. "If you guys have places to go, then where are we going? You go back to your mortal region. Aho will follow the monkey and the others." Yang Jian rolled his eyes in annoyance. At that moment, Iron Bull walked out with his bull-like eyes. "Young master, why hasn't our young master come out yet? Sister Lu, what are you doing?" Su Lu, dragged Yi Zichen through the air as they flew through the air. "Shut up," Su Lu roared. Yi Zichen snuck a glance at her furious expression, then thought about it for a moment, then obediently shut his mouth. In less than an hour, they arrived at the Fox Demon Clan. "Go in." Bang. Yi Zichen pushed Yi Zichen into a girl's room, then sat on the floor and looked around. The layout of the room felt a little familiar, as if he had entered the same room in the modern world. At that moment, he suddenly noticed the picture frame on the dressing table in the room. "This is Su Yan's room." Yi Zichen stood up from the ground. In the photo frame was a photo of Su Yan, him, and Xia Kiki. "Where's Su Yan? See for yourself." Pa Su Luer glared at Yi Zichen, then tossed him a jade slip. When he caught it, an image appeared in front of him. "Hey, Yi Zichen, long time no see, I missed you." The first thing that appeared in the image was a man who was sitting on a chair and smiling at him. "Guli, it's him again. Recently, I've been missing you so much that I haven't been able to sleep at night. I have no choice. In order to see you, I have to use a few tricks. Look." With that, Guli shifted the image to the side. "Who are you? Why did you lie to me? Who told you to be so stupid? You believed me, just because I said I'd take you to see Yi Zichen?" "Su Yan," Yi Zichen exclaimed. At that moment, Guli raised his hand and grabbed Su Yan's chin. "Watch this place properly. I'm going to send a video to Yi Zichen. You better pretend to be pitiful, so that he will tremble in anger, huh? Yi Zichen, don't come. This person." Pa Yi Zichen slapped Su Yan again. Guli snapped his fingers, causing two black-robed men to appear in front of Su Yan and cover her mouth. "Yi Zichen, how is it? Isn't the surprise I gave you great? Trust me, I never disappoint when I surprise people." Creak. Yi Zichen clenched his fist tightly. Then Guli spoke once again. "If you want to see her, then go to the Howling Valley in 3 days. Oh yeah, don't bring anyone with you. I'm a very cowardly person. If there are too many people, then my hands might shake and kill Su Yan. Oh yeah, bring the beast fire you got from Mount Supreme. Don't tell me that you don't have it. I believe that you can definitely get it from Mount Supreme." "Despicable." Yi Zichen snorted coldly with a frown. Guli laughed in the image. "You must be saying that I'm despicable, right? You must be saying that I'm despicable, right? Ha ha ha. Thank you very much for your praise. All right, the Jade Tablet doesn't have much capacity left. If you want this woman to be safe, then I'll see you at the Howling Valley in 3 days. Bang. Yi Zichen crushed the Jade Tablet. When he looked up and saw Su Lu Er's sullen expression, Lu urged, "Yeah, sorry. It's my fault. Just how long do you want to torture Lil Sis for?" Su Lu shouted at Yi Zichen coldly. "Lil Sis died and reincarnated because of you, in order to protect you. Since then, Lil Sis has been following you. But no matter which life it was, she never had a good ending. Are you a jinx? Why must you torture my little sister? Lord Yellow Emperor, I beg you. I, Su Lu kneel down to you. Can you torture someone else?" Su Lu said in a trembling voice. Yi Zichen moved his lips, but only managed to say one sentence. "Sorry. Apologize? You only know how to apologize. Back when you were the Yellow Emperor, you also said sorry when you carried my little sister back. Just what do you want? I'm asking you, what do you want?" Bang. The berserk spiritual energy sent Yi Zichen flying against the wall, causing him to cough up a mouthful of blood. Yi Zichen silently sat up from the ground, wiped away the blood at the corner of his mouth, then slowly walked to her side with his head lowered. Bang. Another punch landed on Yi Zichen's stomach, causing him to cough up a large mouthful of blood. Yi Zichen stood up silently and walked to her side. "If you can vent your anger by hitting me, then go ahead. But Lu, urge ya, please leave me alive. I have to go to the Howling Valley to get Su Yin back. You, Su Lu, clench her fists. At that moment, the door to the room was pushed open. Su Zhu rushed in and grabbed Su Lu's hand. Yuan Hong also followed behind. When he saw the bloodstains on the floor, he hurriedly used his spiritual energy to stabilize Su Lu's condition. Lu Erjia, stop hitting him. It's useless even if you kill him. Yellow Emperor's reincarnation, I'm warning you. If my little sister can come back safe and sound, I can write off all the grievances between us. But if Lil Sis makes even the slightest mistake, then don't worry about it. You are the Yellow Emperor. Even if you're the Jade Emperor or the Great Sacred Emperor equaling heavens, I won't let you go. I definitely won't. Su Lu glared at Yi Zichen, then turned and walked out of the room. Su Zhu glanced at Yi Zichen. How was it? My sister it was my fault. Yi Zichen smiled. Su Zhu sighed, then turned to Yuan Hong. Big brother Yuan Hong, I'm counting on you. Okay. Yuan Hong nodded, then continuously transferred spiritual energy into Yi Zichen's body. Su Zhu nodded lightly and walked out of the room. Su Zhu chased after Su Lu'er and frowned. Sis. Little did they know, Su Lu'er, who'd always shown off her strong side, suddenly turned around, hugged Su Zhu, and burst into tears. Chapter 589. The Matter of the Underworld. Brother Yi, it's not that I'm speaking up for Lu'er, but she's truly panicking. Yuan Hong sat behind Yi Zichen and continuously poured spiritual energy into his body. Yi Zichen nodded and thought back to the jade tablet. Su Lu must have already seen it once. She would definitely be panicking in a situation like this. It's all my fault. Yi Zichen smiled wryly, then squinted his eyes. Guli, his existence is truly a disaster. Big brother Yuan Hong, do you know what kind of place the Howling Valley is? Yi Zichen asked. It's the border between the eastern continent and the central continent. Since there would always be screams coming from the valley, it was named the Howling Valley. Yuan Hong removed his hand from Yi Zichen's back. But that place is filled with a deathly aura. No living being can live there, so it could be considered as a forbidden area. I see. Yi Zichen nodded and smiled. Thank you, big brother Yuan Hong. Don't mention it. I've already stabilized the spiritual energy in your body, but you still have to adjust it yourself. I'm going to take a look at Lu'er's place. Stay here. With that, Yuan Hong left the room. Yi Zichen nodded, then walked around Su Yan's room a few times after he left. The room was arranged pretty much the same as it was in the modern realm. What's more, the bedside table and the dressing table were filled with pictures of her and Kiki. There was also a huge hole in the corner of her bedroom. It seems like Guli had taken her from there. Damn it. Yi Zichen clenched his fist. At that moment, Su Lu suddenly walked in from the door. Lu Erjia, Yi Zichen said apologetically. Behind her, Su Zhu and Yuan Hong also quickly ran over. They were truly afraid that Su Lu would beat Yi Zichen to death in her current state. I'll send you to the Howling Valley tomorrow morning. I don't care about your life or death. I just want to see my lil sis return safe and sound, Su Lu'er said coldly. Her eyes filled with indifference. All right. Enjoy your night. Su Lu'er snorted indifferently, then left the room. Yuan Hong hurried after her. Su Zhu, who had been waiting at the door, walked in and smiled bitterly. Don't overthink it. Actually, Lu'er didn't mean it that way. You must go to the Howling Canyon, but we will guarantee your safety. Su Zhu nodded with a smile, then said, I'll be going now. The room became silent once again. Yi Zichen rubbed his head and wanted to smoke, but when he remembered that it was Su Yan's room, he put the cigarette back into the box. Ding dong. The phone in Yi Zichen's pocket rang. He took it out and saw that it was a message from Xia Kiki. Zichen Ji, why is Lu Erjia looking for you? Nothing. Yi Zichen replied with a smile. Then are you at Susu's place? Hurry up and ask Susu to explain to me why she deleted me. She actually dared to delete me from her friend list. Yi Zichen smiled wryly as he imagined Xia Kiki's current appearance through the screen. He smiled wryly. I didn't see her. How could that be? If you went to the Foxy house, Susu would definitely go and find you. Could Lu Urgia have told Susu to go into closed-door cultivation again? Maybe. After Yizichin sent the message, he immediately replied in order to not give himself away in front of Xiaokiki. All right, I'm a bit tired, so I want to rest. All right. After exiting the chat with Xiaokiki, Yizichin noticed that another person had appeared in his friend request, Su Yin. Yizichin raised his eyebrows when he saw that. He quickly accepted the friend request. Su Yin? I'm Su Luer. Lil Sis's phone is with me. Rest well. That's all. Yizichin was stunned for a moment when he saw the message. He did not dare to reply. Then, he exited the chat and accidentally clicked open the Underworld staff chat group. The Underworld staff chat group, which had been silent for a long time, suddenly became lively again. However, from the looks of it, the people in the group seemed to be discussing at the Howling Valley. Oxhead, I have to report this to the higher-ups in the group. Recently, some higher-ups have not been working at their posts, causing a large number of beast souls to wander around the outside world. Recently, they have been running towards the Howling Valley. The great sacred emperor equaling heaven once said that the people of the underworld are not allowed to step out of the Howling Valley. Horseface, add, a large number of souls that should have been sent to hell have disappeared. I hope the higher-ups can investigate this matter. Judge Chui got it. Xia Baiyan, the underworld has been very strange recently. I felt like there were outsiders visiting the underworld many times, but I've checked the registration form, and there have been no visitors recently. King Chu Jiang, recently, we Yama Kings have been investigating, so please don't be impatient. Meng Po, King Chu Jiang, there's been too much traffic at the Bridge of Helplessness recently. I've been working overtime every day and asking for a raise. Oxhead, there's definitely something wrong with everything. Something might have happened in the three realms with such a large number of souls heading towards the underworld. Xiaobayan, according to my trainees, they're chasing after those lost souls and all of them got lost near the Howling Valley. King Qingguang, all right, stop worrying like there's nothing to worry about. Everyone, do your job and don't talk about it in the group. Oxhead got it. Mengpa got it. Judge Chui got it. Yizichin couldn't help but raise his eyebrows when he saw the messages in the group. I didn't expect something to have happened in the underworld as well, and it's also related to the Howling Valley. I wonder if there's a connection. If there really is, then the problem isn't that simple. The person, there is Gu Li, someone from the demon realm. Someone from the underworld actually has something to do with someone from the demon realm. This is definitely a huge matter. At the Yama King chat group, King Chu Jiang, the situation has been getting more and more serious recently. I feel like we have to deal with this properly before it reaches King Xidagarba's ears. King Qingguang, indeed. According to my guesses, someone from the underworld is in contact with other forces. King Yama, it's not a force from the three realms. King Songdi, then we, King Pingding. How about this, King Chu Jiang, and I will go to the Howling Valley tomorrow to see what's there. King Chu Jiang, okay. King Luan Hui, count me in. King Qingguang, no, just the two of them are enough. The more they go, the bigger the target, and the easier it is for them to notice. It would be great if the two of them could get something out of it, but if they don't, then don't go too deep. Safety comes first. King Pingding, understood. Chapter 590. The Dead at the Crack. The chilly wind whistled, and the bottom of the crack could not be seen with the naked eye. As long as one bent down to listen carefully, one could hear the shrill screams coming from the crack. There were no living creatures within a 10-kilometer radius. Not even the most tenacious weeds could be seen. This was the Howling Gorge, a place that the three realms called a land of death. Follow the plan, understand? Su Luer glanced at Yi Zichin coolly. He clenched the jade slip in his hand. Su Luer had given it to him before coming. So long as he encountered any danger or saw Gu Li, he'd crush the jade slip and she'd teleport to him. Understood. Yi Zichin nodded. Go in. Yi Zichin nodded, then put the jade tablet into his pocket and walked into the valley. The deathly aura in the valley was so thick that it was almost impossible to breathe. Yi Zichin could only use his spiritual energy to form a barrier around him as he slowly walked inside. Gu Li, every time he took a few steps, he would shout. At that time, The image in the jade slip didn't clearly tell them where the meeting place was. Guli, after walking for a full hour, Yi Zichen's voice was hoarse from all the shouting, but he still didn't see Guli. Roar! The strange cries in the valley became more and more ear-piercing. At this moment, be careful. Xin Yuanxiang spoke into Yi Zichen's sea of consciousness. Xin Yuan's sword flew out of Yi Zichen's hand on its own, flames swirling around it as it slashed forward. Open your fiery eyes of gold. There are dead souls here. Hearing Xin Yuanxiang's words, Yi Zichen quickly activated his fiery eyes of truth. The first thing Yi Zichen saw were countless departed souls circling in the air. Their gazes were ferocious, and they constantly let out strange cries as they circled around Yi Zichen. They wanted to come over, but they didn't want the Xin Yuan sword. Why are there so many souls here? Yi Zichen frowned. For some reason, he recalled the message he saw in the underworld staff chat the night before. Could it be that these souls were lost by the underworld? Return. Right at this moment, an explosive shout resounded from within the gorge. Yi Zichen turned around and saw King Chujiang, who was wearing a green robe, holding a square box in his hand as he continuously sucked in the surrounding souls. When these dead souls touched the box, it was as if they had met their natural enemy. All of them wanted to run. All of you stay here. The white-robed King Equality also appeared. A large green net fell from the sky, and all the souls within the valley were caught by this net. Yi Zichen was no exception. There really are people in our underworld who are secretly communicating with the outside world. I didn't expect to see so many dead souls here. The King of Equality frowned deeply. With his hands clasped behind his back, he looked angrily at the souls trapped in the net. These souls are missing a soul and a spirit. It looks like someone is using these souls to increase their strength. King Chujiang's expression was gloomy as well. Using the souls of deceased souls to increase one's strength wasn't permitted in the netherworld or even the three dimensions. To put it simply, this was a demonic art. Absorbing the souls of the dead could indeed increase one's strength quickly, but this method was crooked. It seems this is no longer something we can suppress. When we return, we will have to meet Lord Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva. At that moment, Yi Zichen, who was caught in the net, also shouted, "Stop talking nonsense, you two. Hurry up and open this broken net." Only then did King Chujiang and King Equality notice Yi Zichen, who was under the net. They quickly retracted the net. King Chujiang gulped. "Master, why are you here as well? This sovereign cares about the people of the world. I noticed that something was off at the Howling Valley, so I came here to investigate." Yi Zichen smiled. As expected of a master. When King Chujiang and the others heard those words, they instantly felt deep veneration. Shortly after, King Chujiang spoke out. Then, King Chujiang spoke up. "I wonder what Master has discovered." "The demon realm." Yi Zichen smiled. Yi Zichen smiled. "There are people from the demon realm here. Look at these ghosts." King Chujiang. "It seems like the people of the underworld are very restless." Yi Zichen's words were not made up. He had his own deductions. The underworld chat group had also mentioned that some of the higher-ups frequently went to the Howling Valley, and that a large amount of dead souls have been lost from within the underworld. Since they had come here, it was very clear that the lost souls were here. What's more, although the air was filled with the aura of death, there's also a faint hint of demonic energy mixed within. Based on this analysis, the possibility of the underworld being in cahoots with the people of the devil world was very high. How is that possible? It's impossible for the people of the underworld to be involved with the demon world. King Chujiang immediately shook his head. "Then do you dare to continue forward with me?" The further they went, the denser the dead souls were, and the denser the faint purple nether demonic energy was. The expressions on the faces of King Chujiang and the other kings, who were following closely behind, grew more and more unsightly. They weren't fools. On the contrary, those who were able to ascend to the position of King Yinluo of Hell were all shrewd individuals. Even if they didn't believe it, they had to admit it. There were indeed people in the underworld who were colluding with the demon realm. Brothers, it's time for an uprising. Why do we have to become their food? Why do we have to follow their ideas? Be it humans or beasts, we should all be treated equally. Those fellows want to suck our souls. Are we supposed to submit to them and let them be satisfied? We can't let this happen. We must resist. Right at this moment, a man's voice suddenly rang out from nearby. Yi Zichen couldn't help but be shocked when he heard that. It seems like they're going to start a rebellion. The group took a few quick steps forward and saw a burly, dark-faced man clenching his fists tightly. He floated above the group of ghosts and kept shouting slogans. How many of our brothers and sisters have already died under their demonic claws? Do you still remember how those brothers and sisters looked like when they came out like zombies? Do you want to become evil spirits and be unable to reincarnate as well? No, since you don't want to, then this is what we should do. We must resist. We must protect our rights. Yes, we must resist. We must protect our rights. The black-faced man continuously waved his fist, causing the surrounding ghosts to also raise their fists in excitement. We must resist. We must protect our rights. Blackie, Yi Zichen couldn't help but call out. The man in midair seemed to have heard the call, so he looked down, then quickly flew down when he saw Yi Zichen. Boss! When the ghosts in the surroundings saw King Chu Jiang and the other kings, they all flew over and started complaining at the same time. All right, let's go back. King Chu Jiang took out another box that was different from the previous one. All of the ghosts entered it, except for Blackie. Chapter 591. If you want to save her, come find me in the demon realm. Just now, King Chu Jiang had witnessed Dahe's appeal. It shouted a good slogan. Looking at the group of ghosts under his command, he believed that as long as Dahe said a word, these ghosts would risk their lives for him. It just so happened that hell had been in turmoil recently, and they were in need of a loyal official like him. I don't like being an official. Dahe curled its lips and said, besides, you have to ask my boss whether I agree or not. King Chu Jiang turned his gaze towards Yi Zichen. He had to treat this master carefully. Master, what do you think? If you need him, just let him go. Yi Zichen smiled. It was a good thing for him if Blackie became an official in the underworld. But before that, shouldn't we focus on this place? After walking around for so long without seeing Gu Li, Yi Zichen felt somewhat certain. Play with him. That brat Gu Li was very meticulous. There was no way he'd really wait for him here, just because he'd said he'd meet here. Perhaps he was watching him from somewhere, waiting to see if he would bring anyone over this time. At this moment, with King Chu Jiang and the other kings present, if he showed himself, he could only be said to be stupid. Blackie, did you see anyone around here? Yi Zichen asked. I didn't see anyone, but I did see a few ghost messengers from the underworld. Dahe raised its eyebrows and said, those ghost messengers will come here to take away a group of ghosts in about half an hour. After half an hour, they will bring out the group of ghosts, but after they come out, they will all become evil spirits. What? King Chu Jiang's pupils constricted. Right at this moment, a few emissaries just happened to escort a group of ferocious spirits out. Stop! The King of Equality shouted. When those ghost servants saw King Chu Jiang and King Ping Ping, they turned around and wanted to run. Humph! In the blink of an eye, King Chu Jiang stopped those ghost envoys. The ghost messenger knelt on the ground, trembling and not daring to raise his head. You guys sure have guts. Sir, we were forced to do this. The ghost servant kneeled on the ground and replied while trembling. King Chu Jiang frowned and snorted. Then tell me, who ordered you guys to do this? The ghost servants lowered their heads and did not speak. King Chu Jiang shouted in a deep voice. Speak. My lord, actually, one of the ghost messengers wanted to speak, but before he could say his name, his body exploded and he died. When the other ghost messengers saw this scene, they also cried out, My lord, we can't say it. If you tell us, we'll all die. Then tell this king, is the person who instigated you still inside? How many more souls are there? My lord, you won't be able to see him if you go now. These are the souls we brought out, as well as the ones at the entrance of the canyon. The ghost messenger replied, King Equality. King Chu Jiang frowned. King Pingding walked over and glanced at them indifferently. Bring them all back to the underworld. Who knows, the Kitagarbha Bodhisattva might have a way. King Chujiang nodded with a dark expression, then turned around and cupped his hands towards Yi Zichen. Master, the current situation is rather serious. Equality, and I have to quickly bring them back to the underworld to await Bodhisattva's judgment. Also, the black-faced man beside you. He also needs to return with us. All right. King Chujiang nodded towards Blackie, who then left with them. Approximately 15 minutes later, Yi Zichen looked up at the canyon with a snort. Come out. I know you've been monitoring this place. The people from the underworld have already left, so you should show yourself. Brother Yi truly understands me. A playful chuckle sounded out from the sky. Not long later, Gu Li, who was wearing a black robe, appeared in front of Yi Zichen. I really didn't expect you to have connections with the people from the underworld as well. Yi Zichen snorted. Likewise, Gu Li smiled. Doesn't Brother Yi have connections with the people from the underworld as well? Where's Su Yan? Yi Zichen questioned. You're talking about that little beauty? Of course she wouldn't be here. Gu Li twitched his mouth and smiled. Gu Li smirked, then glanced discreetly at Yi Zichen's pocket. I'm not an idiot. If I leave him here and you shatter that jade slip, wouldn't I be doomed? Then what do you want? Yi Zichen didn't expect him to even know about the jade tablet Su Lu'er gave him. Doesn't that mean that he has spies in the Fox Yaos as well? But only Su Lu'er and Su Zhu were there. That's impossible. Don't think too much. I naturally have my own ways of getting information. Gu Li smiled. Gu Li smiled calmly. I was testing you this time to see your sincerity, but I'm sorry. I'm not satisfied with your sincerity at all. Say it, what do you want? Don't be in such a hurry. What I want is very simple. I need your beast fire, said Gu Li Virum. A ball of fire immediately appeared in Yi Zichen's hand. The flame was dark blue and carried a faint chill. If you need it, I can immediately cut off my connection with it and give it to you. But I want to see Su Yan safe and sound. You truly didn't disappoint me. But do you really think that you have the right to negotiate with me at a time like this? Gu Li sneered playfully. At that moment, a shockingly cold aura suddenly filled the air. Why are you talking so much nonsense with him? Just capture him, and everything will be fine. Actually, Su Lu'er had been following behind Yi Zichen the entire time. She had heard most of their conversation. This guy was the one who kidnapped her little sister. See, what else is there to talk about? Gu Li's body suddenly distorted, then gradually disappeared from the ravine. All he left behind was a faint, mocking laugh that echoed through the valley. If you really want to save her, then come to my palace in the Devil Realm. Remember, you can only come alone this time. If anyone else follows you or leaves any space for you to land, you will never see her again in this life. As for how you got here, go back to the Fox Demon Clan and find out. Sister Lua. This time, Yi Zichen was rather annoyed. What if Gu Li did something to Su Yan because of this? Are you throwing a tantrum at me? Su Lu'er's aura grew even colder. I know you're worried about Su Yan, but I'm worried about her just as much as you are. In fact, I'm even more worried about her than you are. It's true that I had something to do with Su Yan falling into a trap, but I'm already doing everything I can to save her. Yi Zichen snorted coldly with a frown. You are very strong, but your EQ is truly low. Let me think about saving Su Yan. You should just stay in the clan and wait for her to return. If you really want to see your little sister safe and sound, then stop causing trouble for me. Chapter 592. There's a spy among the 10 Yama kings within Ksitagarbha's palace. The ghost servants trembled as they knelt on the ground. Blackie stood in the center of the palace. At the very front of the palace was Ksitagarbha, with Diding lying beside him. The other 10 Yama kings sat on the two sides of the palace with furrowed brows. Tell me what happened. The general situation is that these ghost servants brought the ghosts that were preparing to reincarnate to the Howling Valley. There, someone was sucking their souls to increase their own strength. King Ping Ding and I happened to run into them, so we captured them and prepared to hand them over to you, Ksitagarbha. King Chu Jiang stood up from his chair. Although his words were simple, the gist of it was clear. Diding, who was lying in front, raised its head and glanced at the people below. Ksitagarbha nodded. So that's the case. In other words, Someone in the underworld used demonic arts? Xidagarba's tone was calm. Yes, this black-faced man is also one of the victims. Xidagarba, if you need to know anything, you can ask him, King Chujiang said. There's no need. Xidagarba shook his head, then pointed at the ghost servants and Blackie. Let them leave. We don't need them here anymore. Blackie and the ghost servants left the palace. King Qingguang spoke up. Do you know something? Repentance is the right path. The sea of bitterness knows no bounds. Repent and be saved. Don't make the same mistake again. Xidagarba left the palace with these words. Diding followed him out. When they left the palace, Xidagarba said, the underworld is getting more and more out of hand. The underworld is getting more and more controlled. It seems like it's necessary to ask the great emperor to come out and uphold justice. Are there people among the 10 Yama kings who have dealings with the demon world? Diding asked. Xidagarba smiled. Actually, you should know more than me, right? You should have smelled the aura of the demon world, right? A little. Truth Listener chuckled and nodded. However, I can roughly sense that it's those few people. I'll keep an eye on them in the near future. Don't alert them, Xidagarba warned. Naturally. The Harkin nodded. The 10 Yama kings remained in the palace and did not leave. Qingguang King frowned as he looked at the surrounding Yama kings with indifference in his eyes. Lord Xidagarba's words were obviously directed at the people present, so it was obvious that there were people among them who had taken a wrong turn. The Yama kings looked at each other, and King Chujiang noticed that the atmosphere wasn't right. The Xidagarba Bodhisattva might not be referring to us. Everyone, don't think too much into it. We, the Yama kings of the 10 palaces, cannot afford to fall into disarray. Otherwise, hell will not be able to function normally. King Qingguang nodded in agreement. King Chujiang is right. Return to your duties. However, don't reveal any ponytails. If I find out, don't blame me for not considering our brotherhood. With a light snort, King Qingguang and King Chujiang left the palace at the same time. Old Chu, who do you think it could be? King Qingguang couldn't help but frown after they left. King Chujiang shook his head. At least I can't tell right now. However, the conversation between King Xidagarba Bodhisattva and Big Brother definitely caused that person to give himself away. However, I didn't think that one of us Yama kings of the 10 palaces would change sides. Heh, that's his own choice, King Qingguang snorted coldly. Oh yeah, who else did you run into in the Howling Valley? I ran into an expert, King Chujiang replied. Yi Zichen, who had returned to the Fox Yao's, had a solemn expression on his face. All of the Fox Yao's clansmen were gathered in an empty area in the back mountain. A spatial gate stood in the middle of the area. No one knew where it led to. Yuan Hong, Su Zhu, and the rest of the Fox Yao's surrounded the space gate. No one was allowed within 10 meters of the space gate. Brother Yi, at that moment, Yuan Hong saw Yi Zichen's figure. Su Zhu also ran out in surprise and continuously looked back. Lu Urjia and Lil Sis. Lu should be in the back. We didn't manage to save Su Yan. I didn't manage to save Su Yan, Yi Zichen said plainly. He ignored Su Zhu's disappointment and pointed at the gate. When did it appear? About 2 hours ago, Yuan Hong replied. Looking at the time, that gate should be when I saw Guli. It seems like the gate Guli was talking about is here. Got it. Yi Zichen nodded, then retreated to the side. He didn't want to save Su Yin desperately, but that didn't mean that he was going to do it blindly. Guli had set up some sort of trap on the other side of the gate. Yi Zichen could disregard his life in order to get Su Yin back, but he had to at least be able to get Su Yin back. What's more, a despicable person like Guli, Yi Zichen didn't expect him to keep his promise. Yi Zichen walked to a corner in the back mountain, then sat down and sent a message to old Lord Taishang. Give me several thousand bottles of peak-grade body recovery pills and spiritual nourishing pills that complete stage human immortals can consume. Old Lord Taishang, smiled coldly. Didn't you want to refine pills yourself? Why did you come to me? I heard that Yu Lao told you the location of the beast fire. How is it? Did you get it? If you get the beast fire, then I'll give you the pill refinement manual. I've been waiting for you for a long time. Old Lord Taishang was merely mocking him. If the beast fire was so easy to get, then pill refiners would have been everywhere. I nearly forgot if you didn't mention it. I found the beast fire. Send me the pill refinement manual. Old Lord Taishang was completely confused. He directly sent Yi Zichen a video call in disbelief. Accept. Take a look. Why don't I believe that you can get the beast fire? Old Lord Taishang frowned in the video call. Yi Zichen smiled, then raised his right hand, watched closely. Virum, a ball of light blue flame, emerged from his palm. Old Lord Taishang's eyes opened wide when he saw it. How is it? Do you believe me now? Ha! Yi Zichen hung up the video call. Old Lord Taishang, who was sitting in the pill refinement room, clenched his teeth in anger. You're truly lucky. You know spiritual guidance and have the beast fire. Hey, hurry up and send me the secret manual, Yi Zichen replied with a smile. Yi Zichen replied with a faint smile. After a good 15 minutes, Old Lord Taishang finally replied. What did you find me for just now? Body recovery pills and spiritual nourishing pills, right? Wait a moment. I'll send them to you right now. With that, a red packet appeared on the screen. Ding! You received Old Lord Taishang's red packet. Body recovery pills X30, spiritual nourishing pills X100. Chapter 593. The Elder in the Prison Cell, This Geezer. Yi Zichen couldn't help but shake his head with a smile when he saw Old Lord Taishang disappear from the chat. It seems like the pill refinement manual is extremely important to him, and he's a bit unwilling to give it up. Yi Zichen shook his head with a smile, but didn't retort. I did get the beast fire, but it won't be mine for long. Since that's the case, then I don't really care about the pill refinement manual. Then, Yi Zichen went on a shopping spree in the treasure shop. He leveled up the fiery eyes of truth, 72 transformations, body freezing technique, unbreakable body, and various other secret scriptures to level 3. He also bought a lot of various talismans, but he didn't know if they would be of use over there. Of course, it's better to be safe than sorry. Yi Zichen looked at the pills and talismans in the treasure chest, as well as the secret scriptures that the system notified him of successfully learning. Yi Zichen stood up from the grass and slowly walked towards the door. Brother Yi, Yuan Hong said, tell Big Sister Lu, that I'll definitely bring Su Yin back safe and sound. With that, Yi Zichen stepped through the door. The moment he stepped through the door, Su Lu streaked through the air. Where did Yi Zichen go? He went in just now and said that he will definitely bring Lil Sis back safe and sound. Sis, this door? Su Zhu looked at Su Lu in confusion. At that moment, Fatty Een also rushed down from the sky. He couldn't help but frown as he looked at the gradually disappearing door. I'm late. As soon as he finished speaking, Fatty took out a mobile phone and sent a message. Yi Zichen already went over to the demon realm. I didn't make it in time. Execute Plan B. A dense purple aura filled the area. Yi Zichen, who had just walked out of the spatial gate, seemed to be at the foot of a mountain. The peak of the mountain reached into the clouds, and there were plenty of muscular men with black eyes patrolling the area with sticks in their hands. Transform. Buzz. Yi Zichen muttered silently in his heart, then turned into a mosquito and flew towards the top of the mountain. It was as Yi Zichen had expected. Practically every level of the mountain was heavily guarded. It seems like Guli wanted me to fight my way up slowly, but I can't imagine that I know the 72 transformations. Demon World. This was Yi Zichen's first time here. As he stealthily flew up, he paid attention to the guard's strength. He was indeed very strong. After flying for so long, he still hadn't seen any experts below the worldly immortal stage. Since this is the demon realm, I wonder where Yume is. It'd be great if she was locked up with Su Yin. That way, we'd be able to save them together. As Yi Zichen muttered to himself, the mosquito slowly flew to the peak of the mountain. At the peak of the mountain stood two 10-meter-tall men. They were like door gods standing in front of a prison-like building. Mosquitoes. Why are there mosquitoes here? One of the hulks raised his hands and slapped towards Yi Zichen, while his hands carried a huge gust of wind. Seeing this, Yi Zichen hurriedly dodged to the side, then snuck in through a crack in the prison door. It escaped. Let's just run. There's a mosquito here that will let the girl inside feel the passion of our demon realm's mosquitoes. Another man laughed and said, I just don't know what Lord Goo is trying to do. Why did he capture a human girl? Shoo, don't talk about Lord Goo Lee in private. Did you forget about those guys from before? The man was stunned, while his face gradually turned pale. How could he have forgotten? Just last month, a full 1,000 demon elites had died because they disobeyed Goo Lee's orders. Let's just stand guard here properly. Yi Zichen walked into the prison. Since the buzzing of the mosquitoes was too eye-catching, Yi Zichen intentionally turned into a small bug that vibrated at a slightly lower frequency and searched for Su Yan in the prison. There were plenty of people in the prison. Yi Zichen could tell from their eyes that none of them were demons, and none of them were from the three realms. No, there's one. Yi Zichen flapped his wings and flew towards the cell. The person sitting in the cell was a middle-aged man. His hands and feet were cuffed, and his collarbone was shackled as well. He was hanging from the wall in a pitiful state. Senior, Yi Zichen called out in front of the elder. The elder raised his head with difficulty and opened his eyes. When he saw the flying insect in front of him, he was stunned for a moment before replying, What's wrong with you? You're talking to this old man? Yes, Senior, it's me. Yi Zichen continued to fly up and down. You look like someone from the immortal region. Why are you here? Immortal region? You're someone from the immortal region? An undisguisable excitement flashed across the elder's eyes, while the chains around him clanked. Not long later, he smiled coldly. That demon bastard. Humph. Beast from the demon world. You still want to deceive me? I'm telling you, the treasure tower will never work with you. The elder struggled intensely, as if he wanted to eat Yi Zichen alive. However, what he said just now, treasure tower. The elder was someone from the treasure tower. It might be difficult for Yi Zichen to prove his identity in any other place, but it was way too easy for the treasure tower. Yi Zichen silently flew to the door and looked at the prison guards. Then, he transformed into his human form and took out the treasure tower's tower head token. Senior, look. You want me to see the treasure tower's tower head token? Goddamn demon. You actually dared to make a move on this old man's clansman. The elder struggled even more intensely, causing blood to flow out from his wrists, ankles, and even his collarbone. Yi Zichen quickly pressed him down, then took out a pill and chucked it into his mouth. You can't hold it in anymore. You want to make a move on this old man? Demon, this old man won't submit to you even if I become a ghost. God knows what this elder went through here. From the looks of it, he's already defined himself as a demon. Yi Zichen shook his head helplessly. At that moment, the prison guard hurried over. What are you doing? If you do, I'm going to whip you. Leaving behind these harsh words, the jailer snorted and left the cell. Yi Zichen, who had transformed into a brick, let out a long sigh. He was truly scared to death just now. The prison guard's arrival was too sudden. Aren't you guys on the same side? Why did you have to pretend in front of him? Could you have been sent over by another demon faction? The old man said with a sneer on his face. Chapter 594. Domineering Lulu, old senior. Why are you so stubborn? Why must you say that I am a member of the demon race? Yi Zichen shook his head helplessly. The pill I gave you just now was a healing pill. As for the origin of the Tower Head badge, I have a deep relationship with the Treasure Tower, and Miss Mo is my close friend. Lil Mo. The old man's murky eyes were filled with emotion. Immediately after, he tried to use his remaining spiritual power to check his own situation. It was just as Zichen had said. He had really given himself a healing medicine. Kid, do you think I'll believe you? The old man snorted. You despicable people from the devil realm are capable of anything. Don't think that I'll believe your identity just because you've done me a favor. Forget it. That kid won't waste his breath on you. Do you know if there's a girl called Su Yin in this cell, and where she is? The geezer was too stubborn. Yi Zichen didn't have the mood to argue with him. He came here to save Su Yin. What do you want? The old man snorted. I'm always here to chase her out. She's my girlfriend. Yi Zichen looked at the elder with a frown. If you know, then tell me. If you don't want to say it, then I'll go find it myself. With that, Yi Zichen turned into a flying insect and was about to leave. I don't know where Su Yin is, but I do know that there's a woman imprisoned in this cell. She doesn't seem to be a member of the demon race. She's in the deepest part of the cell. You can go take a look. Thank you. Yi Zichen crawled out of the elder's room, then flew towards the depths of the prison. The old man hadn't lied to him. There was indeed a woman locked up at the end of the cell. However, because there was only one oil lamp in the cell, the dim light couldn't clearly illuminate the woman's face. Buzz, he stealthily flew towards the woman. Lulu. Yi Zichen's heart skipped a beat. He knew Lulu's strength very well. She could be said to be a pinnacle existence in the three realms. No matter who saw her, they would have to give her some face. The title of Ice Empress was not for nothing, but why would she appear here? Her face was pale and her eyes were lifeless. She hugged her legs tightly and leaned against the corner of the wall. No one knew what she was thinking about. Lulu, who was in a daze, looked up in confusion. However, when she didn't see the person in her heart, she laughed self-mockingly and returned to her previous state. Lulu. This time, Yi Zichen directly flapped his wings and flew in front of her. Lulu blinked and looked at the little bug in front of her. Yes, it's me. I'm Yi Zichen. With that, Yi Zichen reverted back to his original appearance. Lulu saw his expression suddenly change, then punched him in the chest. You bastard. All right, I'm a bastard. How did you get caught by the demons? In terms of strength, even the 12 demon sovereigns might not be your match, Yi Zichen frowned. Lulu bit her lips and snorted. It's all your fault. Blame me? Yi Zichen was confused. Do you think that it's all because of you that I was able to come here? If I didn't come to Maple City to find you, I wouldn't have come here. Lulu bit her lips while tears shimmered in her eyes. I've never been wronged like this in my time in the three realms. Don't cry, I'll definitely get you out. Yi Zichen patted her shoulders. Yi Zichen patted her shoulder. Although she didn't say what had happened, since she said it was his fault, then it was his fault. Stop bullshitting. You didn't come here to save me, right? Tell me, who let the demons capture you and put you in danger? Lulu twitched her mouth. Su Yin. Yi Zichen replied. Su Yin? How did she get captured by the demons? Lulu squinted her eyes, then raised her eyebrows. I understand. Yi Zichen, you're truly unlucky. You, Zhang Junbao, were already unlucky back then. It seems like the demons want to use the women around you to distract you. Perhaps. Yi Zichen smiled wryly. Think about it carefully if you want to save me. You should have seen the two door gods outside when you came in, right? Yi Zichen nodded noncommittally. When he entered, the two door gods had even slapped him. Those two door gods were left behind to deal with me, but they're just trash and too weak. If it wasn't for the fact that I was poisoned and couldn't use even 1% of my strength, would Laonyang still be here? Lulu snorted domineeringly. Yi Zichen subconsciously looked at her. She wasn't like this back then. Scared? Lulu raised her eyebrows. That's true. This seems to be the first time you've met my main body. You've always communicated with my little double before. I'm telling you, Laonyang is just like this. You have to marry me, even if you don't want to. Yi Zichen was a bit confused. Never mind, it's too early to tell you all this. Think about whether or not you can get me an antidote. As long as you can, then Laonyang will definitely take you out. Forget about bringing Su Yin back for you. This old lady will help you smash this small dimensional space to pieces. Lulu patted her chest confidently. Yi Zichen squinted his eyes when he heard her words. Is this a dimensional space? Then what do you think? The territory of the demon realm is small. How can it survive without a dimensional space? Lulu smiled faintly. Generally, the upper echelons of the demon race all have their own dimensional space. Zhang Xian nodded lightly before the jailer outside bellowed. 307. Stop making so much noise. You're the only one who talks the most. Don't talk to me. If you have the guts, come over here. I'll slap you to death. Lulu ruthlessly attacked. Hearing this, the jailer didn't dare to talk back. In the entire prison cell, it seemed like only Lulu dared to scold the prison guards like that. What are you pretending for? Wait till our Lord Gu takes the beast fire. Then you can just wait to enjoy it under his body." The jailer muttered as he left. Even though the jailer's voice was very soft, the people in the room could still hear him clearly. Beast fire. Just what does Ghoulie want the beast fire for? Could he be stronger than Lulu with the beast fire? "Hey, what are you blanking out there for? Hurry up and get me the antidote." Lulu frowned. "Do you want Laonyang to sleep with that brat called Ghoulie? Then you have to at least give me some clues, right?" Yi Zichen was helpless. The personalities of the main body and the clone are completely different. Chapter 595. Poisoned old Lord Taishang was truly annoyed recently. There's actually someone more talented than me in pill refinement in this world. He learned how to absorb spiritual energy into his medicine the moment he came into contact with pill refinement, and even obtained a spiritual beast fire by chance. Then, look at the little apprentices he took in. Furnace explosion. Furnace explosion. Every day, they only knew how to waste his materials. Even though those materials were of the lowest grade, he was still extremely annoyed by the furnace explosion. Look at you guys. You've been learning pill refinement from me for more than half a year, right? Even now, your success rate for the most basic pills is only 30%. Don't ever say that you're my disciples in the future. It's embarrassing. Old Lord Taishang cursed loudly with his hands behind his back. The surrounding students all lowered their heads, not daring to retort at all. "Esteemed master, don't get angry at these little juniors." Old Lord Taishang sat down, while his chief disciple walked over with his phone. He smiled towards the juniors who didn't even dare to breathe heavily, then handed his phone back to Old Lord Taishang. "Someone's looking for you. Take a look. Let these juniors and disciples take care of them." "Uh-huh." Old Lord Taishang nodded. Old Lord Taishang nodded noncommittally. If they continued to stay like this, he was afraid that he would beat them to death out of anger. Old Lord Taishang sat down on the rattan chair with his phone. He thought that Yu Lao and company were looking for him to play cards. Why is it this guy again? Old Lord Taishang threw his phone to the side angrily. At that moment, his phone rang. "What exactly do you want?" Old Lord Taishang was a bit annoyed as he looked at the messages that continuously popped up on his phone. "I'm not in a particularly good mood recently. Don't piss me off." Yi Zichen sat on the straw mat in the cell. With Lulu there, the prison guards didn't dare to approach him. "How is it?" Lulu asked. "It doesn't seem very optimistic," Yi Zichen said plainly, then rolled his eyes as he looked at Old Lord Taishang's replies. "Is this geezer going through menopause? His temper is truly unfathomable. I'm not thinking of anything. You should have detoxifying pills, right? Give me one. Do you think that I'm your logistics department? If you want pills, I have to give them to you." Old Lord Taishang reprimanded. "No, go find whoever you want. Don't bother Lousy anymore." "Old Lord, look at you." Yi Zichen smiled. "No matter what, you are one of the 3 pure ones, so you have to be magnanimous. Besides, isn't our revolutionary friendship deep enough? Have you forgotten that when you were competing with Yu Lao, the Chunhua cigarettes I gave you were better than his? I was the one who bought it." Old Lord Taishang snorted. All right, don't throw a tantrum like a child. I really need it here. Please be magnanimous and give me one." Yi Zichen replied with a smile. "What poison?" Old Lord Taishang didn't want to talk too much with him, so he quickly gave him a pill to send him away so that he wouldn't bother him anymore. "What poison did you get?" Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows towards Lulu. Lulu blinked. "How would I know?" Yi Zichen glanced at Lulu speechlessly, then replied in his phone. "I don't know what poison it is either. Draw your blood. Send me the blood sample." Old Lord Taishang didn't want to retort anymore. With that, a red packet appeared on the screen. "You received Old Lord Taishang's red packet. Porcelain bottle X1. Send the blood sample over here. I'll test it, then give you the antidote." "All right." Yi Zichen took out the porcelain bottle, then hooked his finger towards Lulu. "What?" Lulu walked over with wide eyes. "Draw blood." Before Lulu could react, Yi Zichen used a blade formed from spiritual energy to make a small cut on her arm, causing blood to drip down the porcelain bottle. The purple blood was also emitting a faint black aura. "It hurts!" Lulu cried out softly. Yi Zichen raised his hand and used spiritual energy to seal her wound, then stared at the porcelain bottle. "Scan." Send. Dong dong. Old Lord Taishang, received your red packet. This is the blood sample of the person you said was poisoned? Old Lord Taishang's eyes twitched as he looked at the porcelain bottle. Purple blood and black aura. He had just cured this poison not too long ago. Yes, Yi Zichen nodded. How long do you need to make the antidote? The moment he sent the message, he saw that Old Lord Taishang had already sent him a red packet. You received Old Lord Taishang's red packet. Blood cleansing and evil cleansing pill X1. This is the antidote. Just give it to him. Old Lord Taishang replied plainly. Old Lord Taishang replied calmly. Where did your friend get poisoned? How do you know that it's a friend and not me? Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. After being poisoned, you will go into shock for a short period of time. After you wake up, you will feel like your limbs are weak. With your shallow cultivation, you're lucky to not die from this poison. Old Lord Taishang snorted. Old Li didn't get up for more than half a month when he was poisoned. Old Li, pagoda-bearing heavenly King Li. Yi Zichen's pupils contracted as he raised his eyebrows. You're saying that pagoda-bearing heavenly King Li was poisoned as well? It happened a few days after the Seven Fairies concert ended. Hasn't he been investigating this? Old Lord Taishang nodded. Oh yeah, where did your friend get poisoned from? Tell me, I might be able to find some clues. The demon realm. Yi Zichen squinted his eyes and replied. His expression was filled with unconcealable darkness as he sat in his room. It's actually that place? Doesn't that mean that I'm in the demon realm right now? Yi Zichen nodded. It seems like the people of the demon realm have already infiltrated the heavenly court. Now is not the time to talk. When I come out of the demon realm, I'll go to the heavenly court. We'll talk then. All right, do you need me to get God of Thunder and company to get you? Old Lord Taishang replied. There shouldn't be a need. The demons haven't noticed my existence yet. Yi Zichen sent the message, then replied, I'll talk to you later, before putting his phone back into his pocket. Yi Zichen, who put down his phone, was unable to calm down for a long time, the heavenly court and the underworld. Both of these realms have been invaded by the demons, and that elder who seems to be from the treasure tower. Just what kind of plot does the demons have? Do they want to unify the three realms? No matter what, Yi Zichen can't let them get what they want. However, the most important thing right now was to save Lu, Su Yan and company. How are you? Have you recovered? Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. Lu, who was sitting cross-legged, suddenly opened her eyes. Her sharp gaze caused others to look at her. He stood up from the straw mat and stretched himself lazily. Chapter 596. Meet Suyana, faint glow surrounded Lu. Yi Zichen gulped as he watched her slowly walk to the door of the cell. Open. Yi Zichen grabbed the door with both hands and pulled it to the side. Open, open. Lu didn't know how many times she had shouted, but the cell door showed no signs of opening. This is a bit awkward. Yi Zichen scratched his nose. Lu went up to pull the door a few more times in disbelief. Don't bother. Even a complete stage sky immortal cannot get out of this cell. You want to open it when you're poisoned? What a joke. Hearing that, the jailer walked over. When he saw that Lu couldn't open the door, he sneered. Hurry up and open the door for Laonyang. Otherwise, Laonyang will be the first to freeze you into an ice cube after you get out. Lu frowned. Lu furrowed her brows. The jailer smiled faintly, twitched his mouth at her, and walked away from the cell. When Yi Zichen saw him leave, he transformed back into human form, then carefully examined the prison door, then arched his eyebrows. What's wrong with you? Then he carefully examined the cell door. Since the jailer said that, then don't bother. Since we might be in trouble if we go out, then it might be bad for Su Yan. Stay here a bit longer. I'll go out and find out where Su Yan is. After I find her, I'll steal the key to the cell. That's the only thing we can do now, Lu nodded. Lu nodded non-committally. She kicked the door of the cell and snorted. I didn't expect this broken door to be made of Qilin stone. As the name implied, Qilin stones were spiritual stones that grew where Qilins resided. Actually, these stones were just normal stones. However, due to them staying by Qilin's side for a long time, they contained a bit of Qilin's demonic immunity, causing their hardness to increase. At the very least, a complete stage sky immortal would need to use all of his or her strength in order to break them. Although Lulu was a complete stage sky immortal expert, she had only just gotten rid of the poison, so she still needed some time to recover. I'll wait for you here. Yi Zichen nodded towards Lulu, then turned into an insect and flew out of the cell. Where's Su Yan? Yi Zichen continuously ran around like a headless fly. He had pretty much circled all of Gu Li's residences. The only place he didn't enter was the courtyard guarded by several sky immortal experts. Buzz, flapping his wings, he flew towards the courtyard. Just as he was about to enter the wall, a voice suddenly rang out. Don't contact me like this anymore. The people in the heavenly court will be alerted. A deep conversation entered Yi Zichen's ears. He looked towards the door and saw Gu Li walk out with an elder in a black cloak. Heavenly court. Yi Zichen's heart skipped a beat. He subconsciously flew towards the two. Who is it? The elder suddenly turned around and saw Yi Zichen, who was flying around behind him. It's just a little bug. It's no big deal. Gu Li slapped Yi Zichen onto the ground, then kicked him a few times. Humph. The old man snorted and said, I will do my best to complete the task you gave me. But don't think that I'm your ally. Don't forget, I'm only helping you because of our past friendship. It doesn't matter. You don't think we're allies now. But one day you will understand. Let's cut to the chase. My doors will always be open to you. Gu Li smiled, then opened his hands. The elder snorted, then left. When he disappeared from everyone's sight, Gu Li kicked him a few more times and snorted. A little bug wants to eavesdrop on our conversation. A little worm wants to eavesdrop on our conversation? You really don't know your place. I just wonder when my old friend Yi Zichen will be able to come over. I have to properly serve that young mistress before he comes. He smiled, then snapped his fingers at the attendant beside him. Go and wait in front of Su Yan's room. Go wait in front of Su Yan's room. If she has any requests, satisfy them. With that, Gu Li left the courtyard. No one knew where he was going. The attendant also walked into the courtyard after seeing him off. Yi Zichen, who was being stepped on by Gu Li, quickly got up and flew into the courtyard with the attendant. Miss Su, if you need anything, you could just call me. In front of a standalone house, a waiter bowed and chuckled. F***CK off. Tell Gu Li to hurry up and let me go. Otherwise, when Yi Zichen and my Lu Urjia arrive, they'll definitely teach him a lesson. Yi Zichen, who was lying on the attendant's shoulder, raised his eyebrows. This Su Yan, taking advantage of the moment when the attendant wasn't paying attention, he flew in through the gap in the door. Inside the room, Su Yan bit her lips tightly as she continuously cursed at the door. The attendant at the door lightly said, Do as you please, before closing the door. Hurry up and tell Gu Li to let me out. Su Yan continuously slammed the door and cursed. After a long time, perhaps she was a bit tired. She directly sat on the floor and choked with sobs. Damn it, why was I so stupid? Why did I believe him? Su Yan's tone was filled with self-blame. Yi Zichen, who let out a sigh, transformed into his original form and pulled her into his embrace. Su Yan looked up in confusion when she saw the person in front of her. Sorry, I caused you to suffer. Yi Zichen patted her back softly and smiled. Su Yan, who was in his arms, seemed to be startled. She jumped up and down, and her eyelashes fluttered as she stared at him. Am I dreaming? Su Yan couldn't help but mutter. Then she closed her eyes and rubbed her head against Yi Zichen's chest. Don't let me wake up even if it's a dream. Su Yan crawled out of Yi Zichen's arms after a good 15 minutes passed. She looked up with her bright eyes and couldn't help but mutter, This dream is so real. This dream is so real. If only it wasn't a dream. Silly girl, this isn't a dream. Yi Zichen patted her head. Yi Zichen patted her head. Only then did Su Yan come back to her senses. She exclaimed in surprise and joy, Is it really you? Of course. Yi Zichen smiled. I came this time to save you. No, if it really is you, then hurry up and run. Su Yan suddenly pushed him away. Gu Li has been watching my room the entire time. He will definitely notice you when you appear here. Su Yan continuously tried to push Yi Zichen away, but at that very moment, creak, the door opened gently. An array of sunlight shone into the room through the gap. Gu Li smiled coldly. while many experts stood beside him. He crossed his arms and looked at Yi Zichen and Su Yan in the room. Chapter 597. Attack. More and more people hurried over, causing Yi Zichen to feel like he was in a trap. Gu Li's eyes were filled with mockery. He shook his head and raised his eyebrows. Brother Yi, I really didn't expect you to be so stupid. Did you not notice that I intentionally said those words just now for you to hear? Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. Gu Li also nodded. You're right. You're right. Actually, I know that the flying insect was you. I intentionally didn't stomp you to death, and was afraid that you wouldn't be able to find Su Yan's location, so I got someone to bring you over. You should thank me, right? How did you notice me? Yi Zichen asked. Very simple. Smell. Gu Li narrowed his eyes and smiled. I sensed you as soon as you set foot in front of my sect, but I wanted to see exactly what method you'd use to force your way in. However, I didn't expect you to know the 72 transformations. That seems to be a very high-level technique from the Heavenly Court. However, I didn't expect you to know the 72 transformations. That seems to be a very high-level skill of those guys in the Heavenly Court. However, I didn't expect you to know the 72 transformations. That seems to be a very high-level technique from the Heavenly Court. No matter how strong Yi Zichen was, he wouldn't be able to do anything in the current situation. There were plenty of Sky Immortal level experts here. What's more, the entire subdimension was his territory. He refused to believe that Yi Zichen could do anything to him. Impressive. Yi Zichen nodded with a smile. Yi Zichen nodded with a smile. But you aren't bad yourself. You actually managed to infiltrate the Heavenly Court and the underworld. Can you tell me who that person from the Heavenly Court was? Do you think I'm stupid? Gu Li snorted. There's no way I can get out alive in this sort of situation. Isn't it better to satisfy my curiosity before I die? Yi Zichen asked. Even so, I just want you to be curious to death. Gu Li tilted his head and smiled mockingly. Gu Li cocked his head to the side and smiled mockingly. Then he raised his hand and beckoned Yi Zichen over. Beast fire. Gu Li tilted his head and smiled mockingly. After all this time, you should understand me. Actually, I'm the kind of person who doesn't like to submit to adversity. Boom. At that moment, a huge sound rang out from the cell behind them. Lu stood in the air, surrounded by a cold current that made people's hearts palpitate. Stone, you want to trap me? Dream on. Gusts of intense coldness froze the purple mist in the air into ice crystals. Gu Li arched his brows. Although his expression wasn't overly exaggerated, his twitching pupils still betrayed his shock. You didn't expect it, did you? Yi Zichen snorted. As expected, Brother Yi, you're quite capable, snorted Gu Li with a fake smile. He didn't expect Lu's poison to be cured already. Yi Zichen's move truly caught him off guard. Yi Zichen, what are you thinking about? Attack! Several Sky Immortal level experts had already surrounded Lu in the sky. Yi Zichen licked his lips, then released Xian Yuan's sword. 8 sweeping swords. Xian Yuan's sword, which floated above Yi Zichen's head, continuously sent out sword energy. Gu Li merely smiled indifferently, then let go of Qi Yu's sword. Bang! Yi Zichen's fist landed on Gu Li's body. Gu Li blocked it with his hands, while a pair of gray wings appeared from his back. Ah! Yi Zichen smirked coldly. Yi Zichen smiled coldly, and a pair of black wings sprouted from his back. Dong! 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 The two of them no longer used any spiritual techniques, and merely fought with pure brute force. An intense rumble echoed through the entire subdimension. The Immortal Region Elder, who was locked in the cell, also looked up. That young man was actually telling the truth. The Elder sighed. The old man's turbid eyes flashed with a sigh. It was all his fault for being too careful back then, missing a chance to return to the immortal realms. Bang! A huge sound suddenly sounded out between Gu Li and Yi Zichen. Not long later, Gu Li coughed up a mouthful of blood and fell heavily onto the ground. Seeing that, Yi Zichen did not hold back at all. Gu Li would definitely be a disaster if he was allowed to live. It was already impossible for him to realize his mistakes and realize his mistakes. I'll make you sick while you're sick. Die! Yi Zichen raised his hand, causing Xin Yuan's sword to fly towards him. Not good. Gu Li's pupils contracted. He raised his hand, and Chi Yu's sword also flew back into his hand. Ding! The swords clashed. Yi Zichen squinted his eyes and used force to push Gu Li's arm down. Bang! Gu Li kicked Yi Zichen, causing him to flip over and dodge it. Even though blood continued to flow from his mouth, the mocking smile on his face did not lessen at all. Brother Yi, nice move. What greeted him was a merciless beam of sword energy. Brother Yi, isn't this a bit unfair? We were having a good discussion back then. Give me the beast fire, and I'll let you and Su Yin leave. What's the point of facing us like this? Hee hee, don't you think that your words are ridiculous? Yi Zichen twitched his mouth. If it wasn't for Lulu, you might not have let us go even if I gave you the beast fire. Brother Yi truly understands me so well. Gu Li squinted his eyes and smiled. Then his gaze instantly turned cold. But do you really think that you have victory in your hands now? At least it seems that way to me. Yi Zichen didn't waste any more words with him. He raised Xin Yuan's sword into the air once more, then clenched his fists and punched Gu Li's chest. Ugh! Blood spurted out of Gu Li's mouth. As he fell backwards, Xin Yuan's sword also descended. Slash! Xin Yuan's sword shone with a golden light, then descended with a huge beam of sword energy. Gu Li could no longer dodge, but to everyone's surprise, he actually smiled. Yes, I didn't see wrongly. He was indeed smiling when he lifted the corner of his mouth just now. Geezer, it seems like I'll need you to do something, Gu Li smiled. Ding! The sword chi that slashed down produced a crisp sound, as if it had cut into pig iron. A sinister-looking elder also appeared beside Gu Li. He glanced at Yi Zichen, then pulled Gu Li up. The 12 demon sovereigns. Yi Zichen's pupils contracted. This wasn't the first time I've seen this geezer. He should be one of the 12 demon sovereigns. How many times have I told you to call me Lord Demon Sovereign? Yes, Lord Demon Sovereign. I'll leave Lulu to you. You seem to be very interested in her. Gu Li replied with a smile. You do understand me. The geezer chuckled. Then can you deal with this brat? Dealing with him is a piece of cake. With that, on Gu Li's wings. Chapter 598. Chapter 598. Unsealed Xin Yuan's sword when the second pair of wings unfurled from Gu Li's back. His aura also reached its peak. Yi Zichen stared intently at the wings behind him, while Gu Li smiled calmly. Gu Li also smiled. You heard me a lot just now. Gu Li's gaze turned dark. The moment he flapped his wings, a violent gust of wind blew towards Yi Zichen. Yi Zichen subconsciously raised his sword to block Dong. The wind sent Yi Zichen crashing into the wall behind him. At that moment, he finally saw Gu Li's true strength. Mid-stage Sky Immortal. Yi Zichen didn't expect Gu Li to increase his strength so much in such a short period of time. What's more, the wings on his back. Brother Yi, I never fight a battle I'm not confident in winning. You should know that very well, right? Gu Li sneered. Lulu, who was in the sky, pushed back the Sky Immortal experts around her, then tried to help Yi Zichen. A huge skull suddenly appeared in front of her. She raised her hand and erected an ice wall in front of her, then took a few steps back. The elder of the 12 demon sovereigns slowly walked over with a crystalline skull in his hand. Ice Empress, I've known you for a long time. You want to stop me? Lulu looked at him plainly. She could feel a bone-deep sense of danger from the old man. She definitely wouldn't feel that way normally, but since the poison in her body had not been completely cleared yet, she was only able to use 70% of her strength. The old man smiled faintly and did not say anything. Lulu's lips curled up when she saw this. She might lose, but she wouldn't lose. It was impossible for Lulu to show any signs of fear. It seems like you really do want to stop me. Then I can only freeze you into an ice sculpture, then go and save my Lil Chun Chun. I've heard that Lord Ice Empress has cultivated the power of ice to the extreme. I've always wanted to see it for myself. I just wonder who is stronger, Lord Ice Empress or that one from the Central Continent's Fox Yaos. The elder smiled. The old man smiled faintly. Lulu's lips curled up. I don't know who is stronger, but they should both be stronger than you. 1,000 miles of ice. Whoosh. As soon as she finished speaking, a layer of ice appeared in the surrounding space. The biting cold wind whistled incessantly, and around them, there was also snow fluttering down from the sky like goose feathers. The speed at which the snowflakes fell was extremely fast. In just a moment, the old man had become a snowman. Then, the snow gradually turned into ice, and the old man was completely frozen inside. "Break," Lulu murmured, but at this moment, a crack appeared on the ice sculpture. In just a few moments, the cracks became denser and denser. Bang. The ice sculpture shattered, and the skull in the old man's hand released a strong purple light. He patted off the ice shards on his body, and a faint smile appeared on his face. The Ice Empress, ranked 9th in the Beast region, is only SOSO. It's impolite not to reciprocate. Since Lord Ice Empress has given me a spiritual technique, I have to return it. Wu's shrill screams could be heard from the surroundings. These screams could even affect one's state of mind. The old man decisively turned off his hearing and threw the skull high into the air. 10,000 souls return. Tens of thousands of souls flew out from the skull. The souls continuously bit and tore at each other. In just a few moments, they formed a huge skull that was 10-odd meters tall. "Go!" The old man pointed in the air, and the skull bit towards Lulu. "I wonder how Lord Ice Empress is going to break through my 10,000 souls return. This old man looks forward to it." Cough, cough. Yi Zichen supported himself with Xin Yuan's sword and stood up with his hand on his chest. He quickly took out a body recovery pill from the treasure chest and popped it into his mouth to regulate his breathing. "I'm already in this state from merely flapping my wings a few times. If she uses a spiritual technique, Yi Zichen, hand over the beast fire, and I can spare your life." Guli smiled. Chi Yu's sword circled around him as it continuously released weak sword energy towards Yi Zichen with a mocking look. Yi Zichen smiled coldly, then looked up at Lulu, who was in the sky. At that moment, she was fighting against the huge skull, so it was basically impossible for her to help him. However, based on his understanding of Guli, if she gave him the beast fire, then he would lose his final bargaining chip. Virum. A faint blue flame appeared in Yi Zichen's hand. Since he held the sword with his right hand, he summoned the beast fire from his right hand as well. He noticed that the beast fire seemed to be drilling into Xin Yuan's sword. Yi Zichen, Xin Yuan Xiang also called out in his sea of consciousness with joy. "Use this fire to burn me. Hurry." Xin Yuan Xiang had already noticed that her seal seemed to have loosened a bit. It was impossible for Yi Zichen to quickly increase his strength in the current situation. Thus, if she could unseal herself, even if it was only a single layer, then Guli would not be her match. Hearing Xin Yuan Xiang's words, Yi Zichen raised the beast fire to its maximum. In mere moments, Xin Yuan's sword was covered in faint blue flames. Boom. A bolt of lightning suddenly descended from the sky and landed on Xin Yuan's sword. The sword flashed with lightning. While blue flames burned, a ray of rainbow light descended from the sky, while Xin Yuan's sword left Yi Zichen's hand. Buzz, Xin Yuan's sword's hum became louder and louder as it enjoyed the baptism of the holy light. Something's wrong. Guli, who had been smiling confidently, finally noticed that something was wrong. He glanced at Xin Yuan's sword in the sky, then glanced at the unarmed Yi Zichen. Ding! Guli instantly appeared beside Yi Zichen with Chi Yu's sword in hand and hacked down on Yi Zichen's body. Yi Zichen, who already expected that, summoned the swirling flash armor the moment Guli arrived. Sparks flew as the sword clashed against the armor. Guli frowned and clenched his teeth. Divine artifact. Chi Yu's sword was a divine artifact. An armor that even Guli was unable to break through could only be a divine artifact, or something even higher. Xin Yuan's sword's hum grew louder and louder, while Guli's eyes twitched even more. At that moment, Xin Yuan's sword's aura was extremely dangerous, so he had to take Yi Zichen down. However, how could Yi Zichen not understand that? What he had to do was to hide when Xin Yuan's sword came out of the holy light. Bang, 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 bang. Guli frantically used his spiritual energy to attack Yi Zichen's armor. However, the swirling flash armor was a full-body defense. He couldn't break through it. Buzz! Xin Yuan's sword, which was being baptized in the sky, let out a hum, then returned to Yi Zichen's hand like a ray of light. Yi Zichen could feel the uncontrollable, majestic sword intent as long as he held it whoosh. Yi Zichen waved his hand, then placed his left hand behind his back while he held Xin Yuan's sword, which was covered in beast fire, in his right hand. Chapter 599. Chapter 599. All for you, brave young man, do it. Xin Yuan Xiang called out in Yi Zichen's mind. She must have been in a good mood after breaking through the seal. Let Big Sis feel the feeling of dominating the three realms back then. Chop off this winged trash's wings. Calm down, Yi Zichen replied in his sea of consciousness. Then he gripped the Xin Yuan sword and slowly raised his head. He attacked. He merely waved his hand towards Gu Li, causing Gu Li to frantically raise Qi Yu's sword to block it. However, the sword energy passed through Qi Yu's sword and landed on Gu Li's body. Ugh! Faint purple blood flowed out from the corner of Gu Li's mouth, while his eyes were filled with panic. Yi Zichen's strength did not change at all. The only thing that changed was Xin Yuan's sword. Even Yi Zichen was shocked when he saw that. So strong. He couldn't help but exclaim in his heart. Xin Yuan Xiang snorted in his sea of consciousness. The Yellow Emperor was merely a complete stage sky immortal back then. Why did the people of the God Realm fear him when he was merely a complete stage sky immortal back then? It's because of me. Back then, I killed plenty of gods with my sword. This is nothing. Xin Yuan Xiang smiled. It wasn't hard to hear her pride from her tone. Gu Li clutched his chest and panted heavily as he half knelt on the ground, while purple blood flowed out of his mouth as he coughed. How did this happen? Gu Li punched the ground with his right hand. I actually lost to Yi Zichen again. I don't accept this. Boom. At that moment, a huge sound rang out in the sky. Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows and looked towards the sky. He saw the elder of the 12 demon sovereigns slowly descend in front of Gu Li with Lu Lu's blood-covered head in his right hand. It seems like things didn't go well here, the elder smiled. The old man smiled faintly. Lu let him grab her head and throw it to the ground, her body twitching uncontrollably. What did you do to Lu? Yi Zichen raised Xin Yuan's sword and pointed it at the elder. The old man smiled faintly as he hooked his finger to the side. Suyin also appeared in his hand. Yellow Emperor Xin Yuan, when I went to the modern world, I already guessed that you were him. However, Lord Su kept making things difficult and didn't let us, the Demon Lord, take action. Looks like today is the day I, Sun Bin, make a great contribution. The old man pursed his lips and smiled, then snapped his fingers at Su Yan. Su Yan immediately lost all energy and slowly closed her eyes. At the same time, he tossed her to Lu Lu's side. Lu was still twitching, and blood was flowing out of her mouth as she lay on the ground. Creak! You're courting death. Yi Zichen looked up darkly at Sun Bin. Sun Bin smiled faintly. Then two little ghosts came out of the crystal skulls in his hands and ran onto Lu and Su Yan's heads respectively. To be honest, even I might not be a match for you with a divine artifact. However, as long as you want to make a move, I will immediately let my treasures devour these two children. Why don't we try? With that, the ghost reached out his hand towards Su Yan and Lu. Yi Zichen exclaimed, Don't. I'll listen to you. What do I have to do for you to let them go? Throw the weapon in your hand to me. The old man smiled faintly. No. Xin Yuan Xiang roared in Yi Zichen's sea of consciousness. The only reason you can negotiate with them right now is because of me. If you throw me out, then you won't have any bargaining chips at all. Yi Zichen, why don't you go for it? No one can resist death. Here, Yi Zichen ignored Xin Yuan Xiang's words. Although he knew that she was right, he couldn't let Su Yan, Lu and company get into danger. Yi Zichen, Xin Yuan Xiang, kept cursing in her mind. The old man smiled faintly and made a strange gesture with his hand. Before long, a triangular-shaped mark fell onto the blade of the Xin Yuan sword. Xin Yuan Xiang suddenly laughed. Yi Zichen, are you really the reincarnation of the Yellow Emperor? Ask yourself honestly, do you deserve it? Have you really decided to accept everything from the Emperor? But what are you doing now? I've been sealed. This time we're all screwed. I don't care. I'm an artifact spirit. I can wait for the next master. But what about you? Yi Zichen, with your personality and your indecisiveness, you'll lose your life sooner or later. Sorry, I can't be as cold-blooded as you. I can't just watch them die. Even if there's only a 1 in 10,000 chance, I'm willing to try, Yi Zichen replied with a smile. But don't you think that using the unsealed me to deal with them just now would have a higher chance of saving them? Xianyuan Xiang questioned. I have my own thoughts, sorry. Sorry, Yi Zichen replied plainly, then looked up at the old man. You sealed the Xianyuan sword. Can you let them go now? Beast fire. Guli also stood up with a cold smile. Here. Yi Zichen forced the beast fire out of his body without any hesitation. His face couldn't help but turn pale when the beast fire left his body. Then he chucked it towards Guli. This is the beast fire you wanted. Are you satisfied? Could he let them go this time? This has nothing to do with them. The person you want is me, and I've given you everything you want. Idiot. Guli suddenly laughed coldly after receiving the beast fire. The old man beside him also shook his head. I thought you were a formidable person, and here I thought you were a formidable character. It seems like I overestimated you. I never admitted that I'm a formidable person. Can you let my people go now? Yi Zichen smiled. However, the old man shook his head. No. Yi Zichen smiled but did not say anything. Xianyuan Xiang had already cursed him out within his sea of consciousness. However, Yi Zichen maintained a faint smile and shrugged. Then how are you going to deal with me? Yi Zichen, just were you plotting? Yi Zichen, just were you plotting? Gu Li's expression darkened. Stop joking. What plot could I possibly have? You sealed the Xianyuan sword, and I gave you the beast fire. You're saying that I'm plotting something? Yi Zichen shook his head. I merely expected this outcome. That's all. Yellow Emperor Xianyuan's spirit truly is far beyond that of a normal person. Sunbin smiled. Yi Zichen nodded. Actually, you don't know. I've been holding it in. I've already cursed all 18 generations of your ancestors in my heart. But I can't beat you right now, so I've been holding it in. Yellow Emperor Xianyuan is truly an interesting person. Sunbin pursed his lips. Sunbin pursed his lips and said, if it wasn't for the fact that you and our demon race are sworn enemies, I really want to raise a cup and drink with you. Since we're sworn enemies, then what do you want? Chapter 600. Dragon Vein Demonic Dragon Hall. Each of the palace's 4 stone pillars was engraved with 4 dragons of different shapes and sizes. At the very front of the palace, Black Dragon sat on his throne and looked down at Yi Zichen, who smiled calmly. On both sides of the palace were the 12 demon sovereigns of the demon world, and there were many old acquaintances among them. For example, Su Yin, Gu Li, and Li Min, Yellow Emperor. Black Dragon nodded at Yi Zichen with a smile. Have a seat. There's no need for that, Lord Black Dragon. I know my own limits. Right now, I'm just your prisoner. It's fine if you give me a seat, but I feel more comfortable standing. Yi Zichen rejected Black Dragon's goodwill with a smile. Black Dragon nodded with a smile. Fine. Since the Yellow Emperor says so, I won't force you. There's one more thing I want to correct. I don't deny that I'm the reincarnation of the Yellow Emperor, but I don't like people calling me the Yellow Emperor. Yi Zichen smiled with an unquestionable gaze. Black Dragon chuckled. He didn't expect Yi Zichen to speak to him in such a forceful manner. Brat, do you know where this is? The Baldy from the 12 demon sovereigns spoke. Ball. Black Dragon roared. Only then did the Baldy snort coldly towards Yi Zichen. At the same time, Black Dragon said again, heroes indeed come from the young. Little friend, Ye's courage and insight can be said to be outstanding. In the tens of thousands of years since the Black Dragon became famous, you're the first one who dares to speak to me like this. Yi Zichen pursed his lips and smiled without saying anything. Black Dragon grabbed the armrest of his throne with his right hand, leaned down, and looked down with his gray eyes. Aren't you afraid of death? Will you kill me? Yi Zichen looked up and smiled calmly. After staring at each other for about half a minute, Black Dragon burst into laughter, clapped his hands, and shook his head. Interesting, interesting, same here. From start to finish, Yi Zichen maintained his calm smile, as if the danger before his eyes didn't matter at all. The 12 demon sovereigns all looked at Black Dragon and Yi Zichen with different expressions. Su Yun's gaze practically never left Black Dragon. He was constantly trying to figure out exactly what Black Dragon was planning. Gu Li, on the other hand, was rather impatient. He'd brought Yi Zichen here precisely to watch Black Dragon execute him, but from the looks of it, Black Dragon had no intention of executing him on the spot. Lord Black Dragon, I know what you want to say. Halangjia raised her hand and interrupted Gu Li. Little friend, Yi is an honored guest of the demon realm. As for your thoughts, don't ever mention them again. After that, Black Dragon took the sealed Xianyuan sword over and smiled lightly. The Xianyuan sword, the #1 divine artifact of ancient times. Lord Black Dragon is also interested in it. Yi Zichen smiled. Black Dragon nodded. Of course, I am a normal person. How could I not be tempted by Xianyuan's sword? But he put the Xianyuan sword back into the brocade box beside him, then glanced coldly at Yi Zichen. Tell me where the ley line is. As long as you tell me where it is, then this Xianyuan sword will naturally be returned to its rightful owner. I don't understand what Lord Black Dragon is talking about. Yi Zichen smiled. The reason why the 3 realms haven't produced a new deity in 10,000 years is because the Yellow Emperor sealed the ley line of the 3 realms. As the reincarnation of the Yellow Emperor, I refuse to believe that you don't know where the ley line is, Black Dragon smiled. Black Dragon smiled faintly, his lips curving into a chilling smile. As long as you tell me, I can treat you as an honored guest of the demon realm. I can completely give up on everything for back then. If you don't tell me, kill me. Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. Of course not. I never let my enemies go so easily. There are plenty of fun things in the demon realm. Little friend Yi, do you want to experience them for yourself? Black Dragon raised his eyebrows with a smile. No. Yi Zichen shook his head. Then tell me. Black Dragon slammed the armrest of the dragon throne with a bang. The sudden rise in his aura caused the hearts of everyone in the hall to tremble. Yi Zichen, who had maintained his composure, gulped. He was truly on the brink of death. Lord Black Dragon, you should at least give me some time to consider. I don't have a particularly good impression of your demon realm. You should know this better than I do. I can't confirm if what you just said is true or not. You said that you would treat me as an honored guest. Gu Li also said that he would let me and my friends go if I gave him the beast fire, but he still went back on his word. Yi Zichen forced himself to put on a calm expression. Black Dragon glanced at him and smiled. Don't worry. All right, since little friend Yi has said so, then I'll give little friend Yi 3 days to consider. Once 3 days have passed, if little friend Yi is still not prepared to say, then don't blame me, Black Dragon, for being heartless. With a wave of his hand, Black Dragon snorted. Send little friend Yi to Ming Yuan Garden. The ones who brought Yi Zichen to Ming Yuan Garden were Su Yun and Li Minyi. The 2 of them could be considered as old acquaintances from the modern realm. Although they were now strangers and did not speak to each other along the way, at least they were not treated coldly. We're here, Li Min, he said plainly. Li Min, he said indifferently. Yi Zichen didn't pause at all and walked towards the Ming Gardens. Su Yun raised his eyebrows as if he wanted to say something, but in the end, he clenched his fist and turned around with Li Minyi. When they left, Yi Zichen, who had been walking forward, finally stopped and sighed as he looked at Su Yun's back. Ming Yuan Garden's layout could not be described as grand, but it was completely different from a prison cell. Yi Zichen sat on the bed in his room and used his spiritual energy to resist the demonic energy in the outside world. Actually, as a fallen, he did not reject the demonic energy, but he disliked the aura of the demon realm from the bottom of his heart. What kind of wishful thinking are you planning? Yi Zichen muttered as he looked at the phone in his hand. Xianyuan's sword was sealed, and the beast fire was removed from my body. I don't even know if Su Yan and Lu Lu are alive or dead, but you told me to give up resisting. You have to give me an explanation, right? Ding dong. System notification. I naturally had a reason for bringing you here. Su Yan and Lu Lu will not be in any danger, and Xianyuan's sword seal will also be unsealed. What are you afraid of with me here? Don't you trust me? It's because I trust you that I disregarded Xianyuan Xiang's objections and chose to come with them. Yi Zichen replied plainly. The reason he had given up was because the system had sent him a message to give up resisting. System notification. That's great. Since you trust me, then there's nothing for you to worry about. But you have to at least tell me what you're thinking, right? I was just improvising just now. It's fortunate that I was smart, otherwise I might have died in the Great Hall. Yi Zichen twitched his mouth. Chapter 601. Coercion and bribery. Yi Zichen fell silent when he saw the system's message. Someone in the palace would protect him. Who? The only possibility he could think of was Su Yun. However, he quickly shook his head. If it were the third brother of the past, he might have been able to do it, but he was now a grandmaster of formations in the demon realm. He was no longer who he was in the past. Forget it. I don't want to ask who that person is. I did learn about the ley line from Black Dragon. Do you know what it is? Asked Yi Zichen. System notification. Dragon Vein, the lifeline of the three realms. You said everything. Yi Zichen rolled his eyes. System notification. The Dragon Vein can be considered as the link between the upper three realms and the lower three realms. The Jade Emperor and the Great Sacred Emperor, equaling heaven of the underworld, had already reached the height of ascension 10,000 years ago. However, the main reason why the heavenly tribulation hasn't descended is because this lifeline has been sealed. Why did the Yellow Emperor seal it back then? Yi Zichen frowned. System notification. In order to prevent the people from the upper realm from wantonly coming to the lower realm to bully the people from the lower realm. You may not know that in the eyes of the people from the upper realm, the people from the lower realm are just ants. Back then, many clans in the Endless Beast realm were harmed, and their peak experts were captured by the people of the upper three realms as pets. Beautiful men and women became their forbidden wands. The Yellow Emperor couldn't stand it anymore, so he searched for the location of the Dragon Vein and sealed it with the Great Art of Stars. Xianyuan Xiang knows all of this. You could just ask her later. Yi Zichen nodded in understanding. If he was in the same situation back then, he might have made the same choice as the Yellow Emperor. Hey, something's wrong. I'm clearly the reincarnation of a Yellow Emperor. Why do you think you know more than me? System notification. Who knows? The system gave an ambiguous answer. Yi Zichen squinted his eyes, but didn't think too much about it. Then what should I do in 3 days? The Black Dragon wants to know the location of the Dragon Vein, and he believes that I know where it is. If I don't speak, he will torture me to death. Yuan Fang, what do you think? System notification. I know, but I can't tell you. You King tricked me. Yi Zichen glared and cursed. System notification. It's not time yet. Now is not the time to reveal the Dragon's Vein to the world. Just eat and drink for the next few days. We'll talk about it when the time comes. Before Yi Zichen could finish his sentence, the system notification slowly disappeared. Based on his many years of experience in conversing with the system, he no longer wanted to talk to himself. He angrily threw the phone to the side. Even though the system seemed unreliable, he could only rely on it this time. Who is it? Inside a room filled with spirit stones, Su Yun, who was in the middle of deriving a spiritual formation, raised his head in alarm. At the same time, he placed several defensive restrictions around the room. A black shadow walked out from the corner of the room. That shadow passed through all the restrictive spells in the room without any restriction, walked to a nearby chair, and sat down. In 3 days, Black Dragon will execute Yi Zichen. When that time comes, please help me buy some time. What a joke. The Yellow Emperor is the mortal enemy of the demon realm. You want me to help you stall for time? You're dreaming, said Su Yun with a cold smile. Who are you to dare cause trouble in my territory? Quickly retreat, or else I'll take your life. I've been caught up in some matters recently, so I can't get away. When Black Dragon executes him, I might not be able to make it in time. I'll leave everything to you. With that, the black shadow slowly left the room. Su Yun continued to stare at the black shadow. At the same time, a group of demon guards appeared outside his room. Lord Su, you were the one who exclaimed just now. Go patrol somewhere else. I made a mistake just now. Su Iyun replied plainly. After sending the guard away, Su Iyun shook his head, then looked down at the ground. He noticed that the spiritual formation he had been researching for half a month had already been completed. Just who is that black shadow? 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. As expected, Yi Zichen once again appeared in the Demon Dragon Palace. Black Dragon had a warm smile on his face. He had waited far too long for the location of the ley line of the dragon to be revealed to the world. As for why he was so confident, it was because he did not believe that Yi Zichen would choose the path of death. Little friend Yi, long time no see. Have you gotten used to living in the demon realm? It's all right. Yi Zichen smiled. Lord Black Dragon, you should know that I have the bloodline of demons as well, so I don't really dislike nether demonic energy. I actually forgot that little friend Yi is a fallen. It seems like little friend Yi is destined to be fated with my demon race. As long as little friend Yi tells me the location of the dragon vein, you will enjoy the status of a devil son in the devil realm. Hua! The crowd was in an uproar. The status of the demon son of the demon world could be said to be supreme, almost on equal footing with the black dragon. Guli clenched his fists. Not even Aichio's reincarnation was able to sit on that throne, yet the Yellow Emperor's reincarnation actually, Devil Son, TSK, sounds pretty cool. Yi Zichen clicked his tongue and laughed. Black Dragon laughed as well. Of course, the Devil Son is a supreme existence in the Devil Realm. Even I have to be courteous to you. More likely, the entire Devil world will be yours in the future. Little friend Yi, you must know that the Devil Realm is the upper realm. To be able to become the Lord of the upper realm, that is a glorious achievement. With that, Black Dragon narrowed his eyes and chuckled. As long as you like it, everything in the demon realm will be yours. Everyone in the demon realm will have to listen to you. You can even bring your family and friends into the demon realm. Here, you are the king, and no one will dare to disobey your words. But if you don't say it, then you should know just how cruel the demon realm is. You, your women, your family, your friends, and even the people you interact with will have to die. Then if I want Guli to hang himself, then he has to agree. Zichen glanced at Guli. Of course, Black Dragon replied without any hesitation. Guli clenched his fists tightly. If Zichen truly becomes the lord of the demon realm, then there will be no place for me in the demon realm. I must stop him. Lord Black Dragon. Shut up. Black Dragon's eyes flashed with a cold light. Did you ever speak here? Guli lowered his head with a dark expression. At that moment, Black Dragon also revealed a warm smile. I wonder what little friend Yi thinks. Little friend Yi, what do you think? The location of the dragon vein. The location of the dragon vein. Yi Zichen smiled evilly and raised his eyebrows. Everyone in the palace looked towards him, especially Black Dragon. His eyes were filled with irrepressible passion. He had been a paragon for too long, and he wanted to take another step forward. The sealed dragon vein was the only obstacle stopping him from moving forward. He had to find the dragon vein. Where is it? Black Dragon asked sternly. The corners of Yi Zichen's mouth curled up into a comical smile. Chapter 602. Death by dismemberment. The atmosphere in the hall froze. In particular, Black Dragon's face could be said to have changed more than a dozen times in just half a minute. Little friend Yi, this kind of joke is not funny. Black Dragon maintained his warm smile and looked down at Yi Zichen, who had a playful smile on his face. Don't forget, this is the demon realm. Of course I know. Yi Zichen shrugged. But I really don't know the location of the dragon vein. I've been trying to contact the Yellow Emperor for the past 3 days, but he ignored me. Don't blame me for not giving you a chance. Tell me where the dragon vein is. Black Dragon's tone had already turned sullen. He glared at Yi Zichen in an attempt to pressure him. Even if you gave me 10,000 more chances, I wouldn't know. Really, I'm not lying at all. I really don't know where the dragon vein is. Yi Zichen sighed. These days, no one would believe the truth. Why don't you give me another half a month? I'll see if I can contact the Yellow Emperor. Guards! Black Dragon roared angrily. 2 of the 12 demon sovereigns immediately stepped forward and stopped Yi Zichen. Order him to die. The Black Dragon no longer had any patience. At the same time, he wanted to gamble one last time. Facing the fear of death, anyone would choose to surrender. He wanted to use this method to swindle Yi Zichen's location. However, he was going to be disappointed. Yi Zichen really didn't know where it was. A black orb of light appeared on Bar's palm. The orb of light possessed a certain devouring ability, and it tore the surrounding space apart. Wait! At that moment, the robed Su Yun stood up from his chair. Everyone looked at him. Yi Zichen's eyes widened, and he couldn't help but mutter to himself. Could it be? Master Su, what do you mean? Black Dragon's face was gloomy. He was not in a good mood because he had not obtained the location of the dragon's vein. Lord Black Dragon wants the ley line, so killing him won't help. You still haven't found the location of the ley line. Su Yun smiled. Could it be that Master Su wants you to worship him? I'm not that kind of person. Black Dragon narrowed his eyes and sneered. Hey, Brother Su was Yi Zichen's university roommate in the modern realm. They were like brothers. Brother Su, why did you do this? You should explain it to us. Guli laughed sinisterly. Black Dragon looked at Su Yun as well. Guli, what do you mean by that? Su Yun is my man. He's the formation grandmaster I brought to the demon realm. What right do you have to slander him? Li Min, he stood up and rebuked. Only Brother Su knows best what he's thinking. We don't know how to read minds. If Su Yun didn't want to save Yi Zichen, then why did he stop us from capturing the Yellow Emperor and even plead on his behalf? Guli smiled playfully. Li Min, he bit her lips, then walked to Su Yun's side and grabbed his arm. Su, tell them that you're not going to save him. Who said that I'm going to save him? Su Yun smiled sinisterly, then took out a sharp dagger. Brother Bear, killing him with the darkness-devouring ball, is letting him off too easily. In the ancient times of the modern realm, there's a punishment called death by 1,000 cuts. It's to use a small knife to cut someone's body so that they can't die even if they want to. Who knows? He might even tell us the location of the ley line in order for us to give him a quick death. Wouldn't that be a win-win situation? Even if he bleeds to death and doesn't say anything, we won't lose anything. It's quite satisfying. It seems like we're too kind compared to Master Su. Baldy Bear couldn't help but shake his head with a smile. I really didn't expect Master Su to think of that. Black Dragon also smiled. Then let's do as Master Su said. Please. Su Yun nodded, then walked in front of Yi Zichen with a knife. At that moment, all of Yi Zichen's spiritual energy had already been sealed, so he couldn't use any spiritual techniques at all. He couldn't even summon his battle armor. He stared fixedly at Su Yun, who had a devilish grin on his face. He watched as Su Yun patted his face with the dagger. It's your bad luck to run into me. Old third. Yi Zichen frowned. Su Yun slapped him and cursed. Who the F asterisk CK is OL3? Don't try to get close to lousy. Pooh! The dagger stabbed into Yi Zichen's arm, causing blood to spurt out. Yi Zichen clenched his teeth as beads of sweat dripped down from his forehead. Lord Black Dragon is asking you for the location of the dragon vein. If you don't want to suffer, then hurry up and tell me. That strike just now was just the appetizer. You have to think about it carefully. Su Yun wiped the blood from the dagger onto Yi Zichen's cheek. Yi Zichen looked up at him. I don't know. Tough. But Yi Zichen, being tough, is useless here. Pooh! The dagger stabbed into Yi Zichen's arm once again. This time, it was actually the same spot. The double pain caused Yi Zichen to be unable to hold it in any longer. Are you going to tell me? From start to finish, Su Yun maintained his coldness. All of the demons' sovereigns in the hall felt their scalps tingle. They never would have thought that Master Su, who is usually rather kind, actually had such a vicious side. Guli was the only one who maintained a disdainful sneer. I don't know. The moment Yi Zichen said that, Su Yun's dagger had already stabbed into Yi Zichen's other arm. Blood continuously flowed down his arm and onto the ground. Not long later, the ground was dyed red. Are you sure you're not going to tell me? I won't stab your vitals. I'm going to slowly play with you. We still have a lot of time to enjoy ourselves. Yi Zichen's body was also covered in sweat. Yi Zichen's body was also covered in sweat. It was as if he had just been fished out of water. He panted weakly as he looked at Su Yun, who was holding the dagger, with a playful smile in his bloodshot eyes. Fisk! Yi Zichen spat on Sui Yun's face. Sui Yun wiped the spit off his face. I told you to spit on me. I told you to spit on me. Sui Yun stabbed Yi Zichen's calf 3 times in a row. At that moment, Yi Zichen's eyes twitched as he screamed. Even Bar, who was on the side, couldn't stand it anymore. This is too tragic. Master Su, just let old Bar give him a quick death. Back down. Sui Yun glared at him. He actually dared to spit on me. I have to play him to death in order to vent my hatred. Just as Sui Yun was about to stab down with the dagger, a white-robed man appeared in the hall. Chapter 603. Unable to withstand a single blow, Su Lu Er's almond-shaped eyes narrowed as she looked at the fatty standing in front of the portal to the demon realm. It had already been several days since Yi Zichen left for the demon realm. No matter how she thought about it, she couldn't bear to let him go to such a dangerous place alone. However, just as she was about to go to the demon realm, Fatty Yin appeared in her Fox Yao clan and stopped her. Senior, why are you blocking us like this? Yuan Hong, the great sage, and the others were by her side. They were all planning to go to the demon realm together, but Fatty Yin stopped them. Why are you going to the demon realm? Do you want to die? Fatty Yin glanced at them indifferently, a grave expression on his round face. Hey, you and Yi Zichen are good friends, right? We're going to save him. Fatty Yin glanced at her, and a strange smile appeared on his face. I can't believe that I, Lord Fatty, could marry such a beautiful wife. I hope that guy didn't lie to me. Otherwise, I'll beat him up even if I have to go to the ends of the earth. Why are you looking at me like that? Su Zhu hugged her shoulders and took a step back. Fatty Yin scratched his chin and grinned. Don't be so scared of me. You'll be my wife in the future. We're not very familiar with each other, so why don't we take this opportunity to get to know each other better? You can get to know her if you want, but don't stop me, old son, from saving my brother. The great sage suddenly took a step forward and slammed the Jingu Bang into the ground with a loud dong sound. Get out of the way before I, old son, make a move. Don't even think about it. None of the people here can go. Fatty Yin also raised his aura and glared at the people in front of him with his bean-sized eyes. That was especially true of the golden-armored great sage and Yuan Hong, who had repeatedly warned him not to let him pass. In fact, when Fatty was conversing with that guy, he had asked him why he was doing this. He could still remember the bitter smile on that guy's face at that time. It wasn't easy for me to come back here. I want to change history. That was all the guy said before he patted him on the shoulder and left. He had come to the Fox Demon Clan to complete that fellow's words. Stop them. Old Sun's bad temper. Sun Dashang scratched his face and suddenly pointed the golden cudgel in his hand forward. Retreat quickly, or don't blame me for being rude. Demonic Dragon Hall. The white-clothed man's appearance startled everyone in the palace. When Sui Yun saw him, he frowned and instinctively retreated to the back. Tsk tisk, it's quite miserable. The man helped Yi Zichen, who was lying on the ground covered in blood, to his feet, then pulled out a jade bottle, pulled out a green pill, and stuffed it into Yi Zichen's mouth. Soon after, he raised his head to look at Lord Black Dragon, who was sitting on the dragon throne, and raised his brows with a smile. Black Dragon. Who is it? The Black Dragon stared ahead. The face of the man in front of him had always been hazy and blurry. He could not see his appearance clearly at all, but judging from his tone, the other party seemed to be very familiar with him. Do you know where you are? How dare you come here and cause trouble? I've been to the demon realm many times. The white-shirt man smiled calmly, then narrowed his eyes at Gu Li. I originally wanted to point you in the right direction, but it seems I was overthinking things. Black Dragon frowned and glanced at Gu Li. He hadn't been in the demon realm for long, and no one had come to the demon realm during that time. This man actually knows Gu Li at the same time he knows me. Cough, cough! Yi Zichen coughed violently. Before long, he opened his eyes. At this time, all the injuries on his body had healed, but the blood on his clothes made him look exceptionally miserable. You're awake. The white-shirt man smiled. Yi Zichen looked up in confusion at the white-shirt man. To save you. The man in white patted him on the shoulder and smirked as he said to Black Dragon, I'm taking this person with me. Do you have any objections? Ridiculous. Black Dragon stood up from his chair with a bang. His sinister eyes were filled with mockery and ridicule. You want to take him away just because you said so? Do you have any respect for my demon realm? I really don't put you in my eyes. The man shrugged, then grabbed Yizichin's shoulder and slowly walked out of the palace. Don't stop me. If anyone dares to make a move against me, then things won't be so simple. Yes, impudent. Stop them. As soon as the white-clothed man finished speaking, Black Dragon cursed with a darkened face. The 12 demon venerables in the palace left their seats at the same time, blocking the entrance of the palace. Ridiculous. The corners of the white-clothed man's mouth curled up as he snorted. Scram! Bang! The 12 demon sovereigns in front of him were all sent flying dozens of meters away. They fell to the ground and bled. Both the injured 12 demon sovereigns and the Black Dragon were shocked. This was the peak power of the demon race. It was just a simple word, unable to withstand a single blow. What kind of strength was this? In the entire 3 realms, even the Jade Emperor and the Great Sacred Emperor equaling heaven couldn't do this. You're from above. Black Dragon gripped the armrests of the throne as he spoke, trembling. The white-clothed man turned his head and glanced at him, then shrugged. Perhaps, but no matter where I'm from, I can tell you clearly. You people can't stop me. It seems like there's something interesting to watch here. At that moment, a short young man with a strand of green foxtail grass in his mouth suddenly appeared in front of the Demon Dragon Palace. The young man had dark skin, purple curly hair, and crescent-shaped eyes. Demon Emperor. Yizichin was shocked. I've seen this person before in the modern realm, but I didn't expect him to appear here as well. Oh, it's actually the son of a saint and a demon. What a coincidence. The young man spat out the green foxtail grass in his mouth and waved towards Yizichin. Why did you come to the demon realm? I forgot to comfort you. The space you live in seems to be sealed in ice, right? Kuei-in. The white-clothed man smiled. However, Yizichin could tell from his smile that he was not as calm as he was when facing Black Dragon and the others. You're calling me? The young man was shocked when he heard the white-clothed man's words, then squinted his eyes at him. I've never used that name before, but it doesn't sound too bad. Of course, you like it a lot, right? I was the one who gave you that name back then. Although I don't have much of an impression of you, I do like the name. Not bad. Then I'll be called Kuei-in from now on. Kuei-in shook his head with a smile. Kuei-in shook his head and smiled. Soon after, he slid his right leg backward and released a powerful pressure from his body. Chapter 604. Irreversible History. Lord Black Dragon. I've never seen him in the demon realm, said one of the 12 demon sovereigns. One of the 12 demon sovereigns spoke. Black Dragon nodded noncommittally. He'd been the ruler of the demon realm for 1,000 years, yet he'd never seen such a person. However, judging from his aura, he was far stronger than the 12 demon sovereigns. In fact, he was even stronger than the ruler of the demon realm. Can he defeat the white-clothed man? Sui-yin couldn't help but ask. Black Dragon arched his brows. Maybe. Is that so? Sui-yin nodded calmly. His expression darkened, but he didn't say anything else. The white-clothed man smiled wryly as he watched Kuei-in get into a fighting stance. That's right. It was the same back then. Although you don't have a good impression of the demon realm, you're still one of them. He slowly raised his hand. The moment he did so, he could feel the laws of heaven and earth swirling around him. I wasn't your match back then, but today. Before he finished speaking, the white-clothed man's hand curled and grabbed at Kuei-in. You can't stop me. Kuei-in felt the chi of heaven and earth pressing against his body. He tried his best to break free from the restraints. The white-clothed man pointed at him. Kuei-in's pupils constricted, and he raised his arms. Thud! His feet left a long trail on the ground. Purplish-red blood dripped from the corner of his mouth. His crescent-shaped eyes slowly turned into 2, glowing with a fiery light. Again, Kuei-in was a fighter who used pure strength. It could be said that all demon realm members were like this. The heavens created them and gave them strong bodies. They believed in the power that brought them strength. In their eyes, only those sanctimonious fellows from the god realm would play around with spirit techniques and spirit techniques. They only believed in their own strength. Strength alone could defeat 10. Regardless of what spiritual technique his opponent used, he could shatter it with a single punch. Kuei Yin's every step created cracks in the ground. The white-clothed man stood still as he watched Kuei Yin run over. Boom! His fist collided with Kuei Yin's. Crack! A crisp sound came from Kuei Yin's arm. His powerful arm immediately became deformed as he flew backward like a kite with a broken string. Dong, dong, dong. Kuei Yin's body kept crashing into the buildings outside the demonic dragon palace. Finally, he fell into the ruins with his head tilted to one side. Black Dragon and the 12 demon sovereigns' eyelids twitched. Was he even human? Using fists is also my favorite. The white-robed man shook his head, and the faint golden light behind him slowly dissipated. Yi Zichen frowned. The moment the man swung his fist, he felt a sense of familiarity. That feeling, looking at the bone ring on his hand, the shadow behind the man seemed to be the Dragon Clan's secret manual that the old dragon god had taught him. Could he be a member of the Dragon Clan? Whoosh! At this moment, a golden dot of light suddenly appeared in the distance of the demonic dragon palace. The white-clothed man raised his head in confusion. When the speck of light gradually approached, the white-clothed man's eyes widened. Great Sage! Brother, I old son am here. The great sage flew over on his somersault cloud, while Yuan Hong, Sulur, and company stood on top of him. Who told you guys to come over? Did Fatty get there too late? The white-clothed man roared. The great sage rolled his eyes in annoyance, then walked in front of Yi Zichen and patted his shoulder. Thank goodness you're fine. Thank goodness you're fine. What's with the blood on your body? Someone else's. Yi Zichen smiled. The great sage nodded in satisfaction. That's good. Why did you guys come over? The white shirt man seemed to be in a bit of panic. He continuously searched for Fatty Yin's position. Only then did Sulur speak. Sulur finally spoke up. That Fatty stayed with my lil sis in the back mountains of the Fox Yaos. Dong! The white-clothed man forcefully stomped his foot on the ground. Soon after, he turned around and gloomily looked at Hei Long's group. The demons all lowered their heads. They really couldn't deal with this deity. Lu Urgia, where's Lil Sis? Su scanned the surroundings, but did not see Su Yan. Just as Yi Zichen was about to speak, the white-clothed man walked in front of them with a frown. Go back first. I'll come and save Su Yan later. No, Su replied firmly. I have to bring my Lil Sis back. As soon as she finished speaking, 9 white tails appeared behind her, and the color of her clothes gradually turned light blue. Whoosh! A cold wind blew past, causing the sand and stones on the ground to fly into the air. She suddenly took a step forward and looked coldly at Guli. Return my Lil Sis. Can you guys stop messing around and come with me? The white-clothed man grabbed Sulur's arm and pulled her back. Let go. Sulur glared at him. Although she knew very well that the master in front of her was not someone she could compare to, no one could stop her from saving her Lil Sis. Lu, Urgia, just listen to me once. Hurry up and leave. I'll definitely save Su Yan. I won't let her get into any danger. The white-clothed man panicked. Sulur struggled out of his grip. I'll save my own little sister. Yi Zichen looked at the situation in front of him in confusion. Just what's going on? The white-clothed man can clearly do whatever he wants here, right? Wouldn't it be over if he just killed everyone in the demon realm? Why did he drag Sulur back? Also, why did he call Sulur Lu Urgia? What the hell is going on? And he keeps censoring his face? Is he afraid of people? Hurry up and hand over my Lil Sis. Sulur glared at Black Dragon and Guli. The coldness in the surroundings grew stronger and stronger, while a layer of frost had already formed on the palace. Sulur's 9 tails danced in the howling winds. Black Dragon squinted his eyes and raised his eyebrows. A heavenly 9-tailed fox. Isn't that a primordial divine beast from the Yao realm? Why did it come to the 3 realms? However, from the looks of it, it's only a half-step immortal king. It doesn't pose much of a threat to Black Dragon. What makes him feel threatened is the white-clothed man. Guli let them go. Just as Black Dragon was about to give in, The great sage couldn't help but speak up. Why are you talking so much to them? Just hit them with the rod, and they'll all listen. With that, he charged into the Black Dragon Palace with his rod. Sulu also stepped in. Don't. The white-clothed man roared. He raised his hand in an attempt to grab them back. Puny Yao actually dared to step foot into the demon realm? Sulu. Yuan Hong immediately stood in front of Sulu. The white-clothed man took a few steps back in a daze. Both the great sage and Yuan Hong had 2 bowl-sized holes on their bodies. Their eyes gradually dimmed as they stumbled and fell to the ground. Chapter 605. Escape from the Demon Realm. Chapter 605. Escape, Yuan Hong. Sulu screamed as she looked at Yuan Hong, who was slowly falling into a pool of blood. Sulu is my, Yuan Hong's woman. Anyone who dares to touch her is my, Yuan Hong's, enemy. Hey, Lure, we've known each other for so long. Give me a chance to go on a date. Don't be so mean to me. Even if you don't scold me, I'll still listen to you. Scenes flashed through her mind. Sulu was the clan head of the Fox Yaos. Her every word and action determined the rise and fall of the Fox Yaos. For the sake of her clan, she put down her emotions. However, he had never uttered a single word of complaint. He had always stayed by her side. After 10,000 years, even a heart of ice would be melted by Yuan Hong's fiery passion. Yuan Hong, don't die. Sulu hugged his neck tightly as her tears fell onto Yuan Hong's face. What are you crying for? I feel like I'm pretty lucky. Even if I die, I'll die for you. Yuan Hong slowly raised his hand and wiped away the tears at the corner of her mouth, but the color in his eyes grew increasingly dim. Yuan Hong, I promise you, as long as you survive, I'll go on a date with you. I won't care about the Fox Yaos anymore. I'll leave it to Lil Zhu. I'll marry you, okay? Sulu's tears flowed down uncontrollably. Yuan Hong suddenly laughed when he heard that. Okay, if I don't die this time, I feel like the entire 3 realms will know that you're my, Yuan Hong's woman. Slap. The hand that was caressing Su Yan's face fell to the ground powerlessly. Sulu's eyes widened in shock as she hugged Yuan Hong's body, which was gradually turning cold. Yuan Hong, you can't die. Didn't you say that you're going to marry me? Yuan Hong, Great Sage. Yi Zichen also ran to Great Sage Sun's side in a panic. He took out a healing spiritual medicine with trembling hands and continuously stuffed it into Great Sage Sun's mouth. Great Sage, you're the victorious fighting Buddha. Don't you know the 72 transformations and have 72 lives? I, old son, didn't expect that I would fail miserably in such an easy task. The great sage grinned, then raised his head to look at the sky. His eyes were lifeless as he smiled bitterly. I really want to see you again. Why is this happening? I clearly came back to change the future. Why? Am I really a jinx? The man in white stood at the back and looked at the 2 people lying on the ground in front of him. This was the scene, the same place, the same scene. Even the words they said were the same. Why is this happening? The people of the demon realm actually dared to cause trouble in my demon realm. They deserve to die. An old man with white hair walked out of the demonic dragon palace. The old man wore a purple robe embroidered with poisonous insects. He also had a tuft of beard under his chin, which was always stroked by a hand when he spoke. You? Sulu and Yi Zichen looked up at the elder at practically the same time. Their eyes were filled with venomous rage. There's actually a surviving Yao who hasn't died yet, snorted the elder. The elder snorted coldly. Sulu slowly placed Yuan Hong's body on the ground, then stood up. Her ice-colored dress fluttered in the wind, and her hair gradually turned azure. Whoosh! Strong winds blew past, carrying with them shattered snow. The surrounding temperature dropped lower and lower. Prepare to pay with your life for Yuan Hong's. Sulu stared fixedly at the old man in front of her. The old man smiled indifferently, then struck out with his palm. You're just an ant. How dare you speak to me like that? Die. Sulu definitely couldn't block the elder's furious attack. When Sulu sensed the vast gap between them, she gave up on resisting. Worst comes to worst, I'll just leave with Yuan Hong. Boom! A violent wave of spiritual energy blew the surrounding people to the verge of collapse. Suluer looked up and saw the man in white blocking her way. "Let's go." The white shirt man waved his sleeves. Yi Zichen, Su Luer, Yuan Hong, and the great sage turned into a ray of light and disappeared from the demon dragon palace. Z's a sky supreme. So the three realms actually has such an expert. The elder shook his head with a smile, then turned to Black Dragon. "You are the master of this realm." "Yes, senior." Black Dragon nodded without even daring to breathe. Black Dragon didn't even dare to breathe loudly as he nodded. The other party nodded and smiled. "Your strength is not bad. I can see that you should be able to ascend. Why haven't you? Could it be that you are unwilling to part with this power? As a descendant of the demon realm, how could this junior dare to forget the teachings of my ancestors and seek pleasure? It's just that the ley line of the three realms has been sealed. This junior has been unable to find it for many years, which is why this junior has been staying here." Black Dragon bowed. Black Dragon bowed and replied. Although he didn't know who this old man was, the other party's strength was enough to convince him. The ley line," the elder nodded. "You don't need to worry about the ley line. This old man will be staying here for a while. And, senior, please speak," said Black Dragon. "I sense two otherworldly auras in the demon realm. They are both Yao." The elder squinted his eyes. "Yes," Black Dragon nodded, then pointed at Guli. He was the one who captured them. The old man looked towards Guli. He stared at him for a long time with his turbid eyes. "Human, senior, I am the reincarnation of Chi-Yu. Before I awakened, I did stay with the human race for a period of time. However, I have already forsaken the darkness for the light and become a member of the demon realm." Guli quickly replied. "The reincarnation of Chi-Yu, forsaken the darkness for the light." The old man sighed softly and sighed. "Who can say for sure what is light and what is dark? Go and release the two demon clan members. Those experts were here for them, right? Your demon realm's foundations are still shallow, so you cannot fight against experts of that level. At that time, I had already punished the fake demon as a warning. Let the other two go." "Understood." The demons all nodded. At that moment, Kuo-in crawled out from the ruins. He glanced at the old man, standing in front of the demonic dragon palace, and smiled faintly. Then, he dragged his crippled body and left silently. Fatty Een continuously chatted with Su Zhu in front of the portal to the demon realm. Although Su Zhu was replying, she didn't seem to be paying attention to him. Whoosh! The white shirt man grabbed Su Lu, and Yi Zichen and appeared at the back of the mountain. Su Zhu immediately ran over. When she saw the great sage and Yuan Hong and Yi Zichen and Su Lu's arms, she immediately covered her mouth, while her eyes were filled with shock. "Sis!" Su Zhu panicked. "How is this possible? Not to mention Yuan Hong. The great sage is the top dog of the beast region, the victorious fighting Buddha of the heavenly court. How could they?" When Fatty Een saw this, he was also dumbfounded. He inexplicably recalled what the white-clothed man had said to him. He fiercely slapped himself in the face and cursed himself for being blinded by greed. "I was wrong." Fatty lowered his head and walked over. The white-robed man raised his hand and slowly put it down.